You ever hear about the Kurt Cobain theory? So there's a theory that Kurt Cobain didn't actually commit, but was actually by his wife.
Oh, by his wife?
By his wife.
I thought it was a...
That's what the news said, and that's what it's been deemed at.
Today we're looking at famous celebrity autopsy and conspiracy TikToks that will make you rethink your life. Thank you to all the channel members for support. These are the winners of last week's riddle. Congrats to you guys. Do what this guy says and like the video, unless they will come to your house. What is always in front of you but cannot be seen? If you know, put it down in the comments. And as y'all guys know, these videos do get crazy, so watch at your own risk, and also remember to subscribe. Let's go!
Autopsy. Today we're talking about XXXTentacion, who was shot and killed in a robbery on June 18th, 2018. At the time of his passing, he weighed 126 pounds, was 68 inches tall, and he was shot 3 times. First shot was to the top of his left shoulder. It was centered 27 centimeters from the top of his head. This shot perforated his left lung, his left trap muscle, his ascending aorta, and a portion of his throat. Next shot was to the left side of his upper back / neck, and it was centered 24 centimeters from the top of his head. This one also perforated his left trap muscle and his left pleural cavity, which is where it stopped. Final shot was to his neck. It was located in the left lateral midline of his neck and located 17 centimeters from the top of his head. This shot entered and perforated his left scapulae and scalene muscles, a portion of his spine, and his left posterior rib. As for his brain, kidneys, pancreas, lungs, and liver, they were all labeled as unremarkable. No drugs were found in the blood they took from his chest or in his pee. The COD was labeled as multiple shot wounds, and it was a homicide. Here are the 3 men behind it. This is unfortunately another story of a life gone too soon.
Dude, I literally remember being like 14 or something at the time, and I remember hearing about him dying. I was just like, there's no way. I feel like he was the first rapper, not including Biggie and Tupac and all that, in the modern age that really like died tragically. He was the one that started it, and like a bunch of artists after him started to fall. Very sad and tragic moment. And he was only 20 years old, so that's crazy.
Famous autopsies from June 22nd to June 24th of 2002. WWE star Chris Benoit would take the lives of his wife, his son, then himself. Found wearing a pair of red, white, and blue swim trunks with a pair of socks and tennis shoes on. On his left hand, on his ring finger, is a yellow metal band. Trigger warning, after this point we'll get into some touchier subjects. So yeah, was a single, tight-looped 70-inch piece of black rope. It was then slipped through a carabiner with a heavy ball on the other end. After taking off the rope, they found a ½ inch groove all the way around his neck. His eyes were very red throughout from all the hemorrhages. His heart was enlarged, and his kidneys showed no signs of stones, but medullary congestion. Gallbladder was normal. There was a bit of green bile inside of it. Spleen was pretty normal. His lungs were moderately congested, and his liver was enlarged with some blood inside. Blood found but at therapeutic levels, and in his pee there was elevated levels of testosterone from an outside source. These murders drew intense media criticism regarding brain injuries, substance abuse, and long-term health of athletes, with most contributing the multiple concussions and all the brain damage he sustained throughout his wrestling career to these crimes.
Look how familiar that face is. Now I'm finna tell you who it really is, because it's not Jesus. His name is Cesar Borgias.
Hello my friends, so that is completely incorrect. So this conspiracy theory presents this idea that the depictions of Jesus that we're all familiar with are actually based on Cesare Borgia, who was a patron of Leonardo da Vinci. Did Leonardo da Vinci ever draw Cesare? Yes, we have one confirmed illustration, and this is it. As you can see, not very much like the depictions of Jesus we're used to. The tradition of depicting Jesus as a European-appearing man with a beard and long brown hair actually goes back centuries to the Romans. This is a 4th century depiction from the Roman catacombs, and this is shortly after from the 5th century. People gotta stop dragging Da Vinci into all these conspiracy theories, man. Let my man rest in peace.
Somehow fell down the disturbing rabbit hole that is the Bob Ross theory. This theory is not for the faint of heart. It is also just completely a theory, completely not factual, all allegations. But it is super weird to think about. So the theory goes, Bob Ross was secretly a serial unaliver, and all of his landscape portraits, his happy little accidents, were the different places that he hid the people that are not around anymore due to him. And this theory came from the fact that a lot of the landscapes that he painted matched up with places that remains had been found. And also the timeline of things added up. For example, one was based in the summer of 1980. He went to go to visit a friend's wedding, and then coincidentally, in the summer of 1980, they found what was left of somebody hidden, not only in the location that he was in that summer, to a T was found in the exact location that he painted, in the exact landscape that he painted. There are several others. You are welcome to do your own deep dive. Like I said, none of this is fact, but coincidences are coincidences, and sometimes it just makes you wonder.
It is wild that no one is talking about what happened at Meta last week. A former top executive turned whistleblower just testified in front of Congress claiming that Facebook actively worked with the Chinese government, sharing sensitive information with them and even helping them with censorship. Allegedly, also Zuck could gain access to the Chinese market. Sarah Wynne Williams, who is a former global public policy director at Facebook, claimed that while she worked there, they created a top secret initiative called Project Aldrin. You see, for years, Zuckerberg has been very open about wanting access to China's 1.4 billion users. And at one point, he even learned Mandarin to get into their good favor.
在 Facebook， 我们会有一个大春节晚会。
But according to Sarah, he's done a lot more than just learn Chinese. She testified saying, I saw Meta executives repeatedly undermine US national security and betray American values. They provided briefings to the Chinese Communist Party on sensitive technology, including AI, with an explicit goal being to help China outcompete American companies. She claimed that they even gave them access to American users' data. Now, Meta denied all of these claims, calling her testimony divorced from reality and riddled with false claims. But despite this, they have gone very out of their way to silence her. Senator Josh Hawley said they have threatened her with $50,000 in punitive damages every time she mentions Facebook in public. And Meta went as far as winning an emergency ruling, which blocked her from promoting or distributing a book that she wrote about her time at the company. So the question is, have we been too busy focusing on TikTok to notice Meta cutting deals with China? Or is this just a disgruntled former employee exaggerating claims?
In my head, it's like, dude, that is crazy. And whole time the US is like, oh my god, TikTok with their data and the CCP. Whole time Instagram and Meta and Facebook is doing the literal same thing. That's crazy. If that's true, that is insane, dude. That is insane.
You ever hear about the Kurt Cobain theory? So there's a theory that Kurt Cobain didn't actually commit, but was actually by his wife. Oh, by his wife? By his wife. I thought it was a... That's what the news said, and that's what it's been deemed as. He committed... There was no foul play, right? Well, I don't know if you know, but Kurt Cobain, he wrote a letter before he... In his letter, the first 3 lines were in a different handwriting than the last. And the rest of it is the actual part, and it's written in a smaller handwriting, and it doesn't even look like the same handwriting itself. Also, when they found his body, the autopsy said in his system, he took 9 times the regular amount. He wouldn't be able to lift the shotgun and shoot it. There was rumors Kurt Cobain was ready to leave his wife Courtney Love, ready to dip out of the relationship. If he left her, he would have all of the rights to his music, and she would be left with no riches, no nothing. But if Kurt Cobain, since they're married, she would get all of the assets. Apparently there's this guy that came out, he said he was approached by Courtney Love at a bar and wanted him to Kurt Cobain, but he couldn't do it. Said he could not do it. Courtney Love hired a private investigator too. This is the first time in history the private investigator thinks the person that hired him was the... But realistically, if nobody's pressing charges against her, or nobody's like pushing to fight that case, then what's really gonna happen? Nothing.
I'm not gonna lie, I would not doubt that, because I've seen so many videos nowadays, women trying to kill their really rich husbands just so they can get like a lot of their assets. Like there was a story of this woman literally dumping bleach in her husband's coffee making device. I don't know what they call those because I don't really drink coffee like that. And she only did it just because she just wanted his assets. Crazy world we live in, guys.
Crazy historical coincidences that cannot be explained. In 1893, a man named Henry Ziegland broke up with his girlfriend at the time, who then died by... Her brother tried to kill Henry by shooting at him, but he missed, and the bullet got stuck in a tree. 20 years later, Henry Ziegland decided to cut down the tree. When it fell, the bullet was dislodged and flew out, which struck him, killing him on the exact spot where he had been shot at 20 years earlier. On August 6, 1945, a Japanese man named Tsutomu Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima for a work trip when the first atomic bomb was dropped. Despite severe burns and injuries, he managed to escape the city and return home to Nagasaki the next day. 3 days later, while on his way to work, the second atomic bomb was dropped, this time in his own city. Miraculously, he survived again and went on to live up until his death in 2010. In 1912, a woman named Violet Jessup was aboard the Titanic when it sank after hitting an iceberg. Luckily, she survived. A few years later, in 1916, she was on the Britannic when it struck a mine and sank again. She survived. Lastly, she was on board the Olympic, which collided with another ship, and yet she survived again, and is known as the only person to have survived 3 separate disasters at sea.
Those have got to be some of the luckiest people of all time. Like, what?
I saw a video of a guy. He goes to cemeteries. He finds rituals and hexes, and he kind of gets rid of them. He destroys them. And in one of them, he finds this bottle. I think it's like filled with coffee grains. He pulls it out, and it's a bunch of pictures of family members wrapped around with meat. How like that means like they want the family to die and shit and get sick and stuff.
This is giving me goosebumps.
Sí huele feo.
Está envuelto en carne, familia. Este trabajo es carne con ajo, sal en grano. Las personas que están envueltas en este pedazo de carne. Lo que veo es una familia.
And it's not just 1, 2, 3. It's like a lot, bro. Low key, the whole family, bro. Look, even kids. Look. Oh, watch, you gonna see. Bro, that's legit. And that's not the only video that he does. There's a couple videos of him finding a bunch of different rituals, hexes being done in the cemeteries.
What the fuck?
Let me know if you guys believe in this shit. I kind of believe in it. Only because I've heard so many stories of people experiencing this shit, and
the real truth, you better wake up and find out, has been around you all of your life. You just didn't see it. Example, Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John Kennedy was elected to Congress 1946. Abe Lincoln was elected president in 1860. John Kennedy was elected president 1960. The names Lincoln and Kennedy both contain 7 letters. Both presidents were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both of the president's wives lost children while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday in the head. President Lincoln's secretary was named Miss Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Miss Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, was born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, in 1939. Both assassins were known by 3 names: John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald. Both names are comprised of 15 letters. President Lincoln was shot in a theater named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car named Lincoln, made by Ford. John Wilkes Booth ran to a theater and was caught in a warehouse. Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in a theater. Booth and Oswald were both assassinated before they could go to trial. And a week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. A week before Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe.
That kind of gave me chills. Like, the coincidences were too off the charts. I don't know who would have set that up, though, because there's no way the government could just literally set all that up and it be exactly. Maybe it was just God's plan at the end of the day, because that is insane, dude. Let me know what you guys think about that, because that one's a little bit mind-blowing.
Put a tack on her chair as a joke, and when she sat down, it pierced her skin. She let out a yell before laughing at the prank. But a few days later, she began to feel sick. You see, the tack actually had bacteria on it, which entered her bloodstream through the wound. The infection quickly spread, causing severe blood poisoning. Doctors did everything they could, but unfortunately, she didn't make it.
Imagine being trapped in the Paris catacombs to the point where you pretty much reach the gates of hell. This is Scarlett, and she gets her ex-boyfriend and a camera crew to follow her into the catacombs looking for the Philosopher's Stone to grant eternal life, which I think eternal life is kind of overrated. But anyways, that's not the point. So they first book a little tour of the catacombs, but realize that they're not going to find the Philosopher's Stone this way, so they decide to go through the uncharted regions, which is illegal. But that doesn't stop them. They find a group of people who will take them through this, and there's one guy who kind of knows the catacombs, so they start to follow him. The further they go, the more and more it becomes a claustrophobic nightmare, because if you know anything about the catacombs, it's literally a maze down there. Reach a certain point where that the illegal tour guide says that if you pass this point, it's a point of no return. Closures and roadblocks cause them to take the path of the damned. They have no other choice at this point if they want to get out. After solving some riddles and such, they reach the stone after all that they were looking for, and then they start walking, and they notice that they're now walking in an inverted version of everything they just went through. Except now this one consists of burning cars, things like this and this, so all these demons just messing with their heads. At this, they come across 2 messages, which translate to, abandon all hope, ye who enter, and another that's the title of the movie, As Above, So Below. You should check it out. It's pretty claustrophobic, pretty creepy, pretty scary, but it's a good one.
Nicki Minaj will never win a Grammy because she pissed off the white male Grammy producers, and they blacklisted her from ever receiving the biggest award in music.
The Grammys is everything. And to a music artist, it's what you live for. I know eventually in my career, I'm gonna have Grammys.
The 2012 Grammys were the most watched ceremony this decade, and Nicki did all the promos and commercials for it, but then the day of the show, they told Nicki she could not perform anymore. Grammy goes to... They thought her performance would be too controversial. Whitney Houston died the day before, so they wanted the show to have a PG vibe, but Nicki went against them and performed anyway to give the fans what she promised, and they were pissed.
After I did everything they asked, they came the day of the show and told me not to perform. And I said, no, I'm gonna perform, of course. And I didn't understand the power that that man had to start to completely blackball me for the rest of my career, but that's exactly what happened. But I do think it's sad because they try to portray it as if it's about talent when it's not. It's about people actually network for the Grammys.
The Grammys brainwashed us into thinking for years that the Grammys are about what? Talent.
One of the former Grammy CEOs, Deborah Dugan, even confirmed that the award show is rigged for artists to network and have business affiliations with Grammy chairmen.
Is the awards process corrupt? It's rigged. I was in the room and I did see that happen.
I'm going to show you what the Grammys have to say about the theory that they blackballed Nicki, but before I do, make sure you follow so you finally know the craziest conspiracy theories about each of these celebrities and requests you want to see next. The Grammys have seemingly assured us that they didn't blackball Nicki, but in the same breath said that they are going to change the way they decide winners to be more transparent, aka less corrupt. Yet still, they didn't recognize one of the biggest hits of the year for any nomination.
You guys remember when Kanye said this, then disappeared?
Not taking the responsibility as a man. That's why I say the song Closed on Sunday is the hardest record ever made. As hard as the NWA record. Because it's talking about protecting your kids from the indoctrination of the media. The thousands and thousands of images that are fed to children by the age of 6 or 7. And within those images, there are images mixed in that we don't know about as parents that are purposely mixed in to lower the kids' superpower and esteem so that they can be more susceptible to consumption and feel that they need to consume and become a part of the robotic numeric system that controls so much of the media. I just had to say it like this. You can rewind it and then do research what I'm talking about.
The Twitter rants he's been going on is insane. I remember this one interview he did with this dude known as DJ Academics. He came out in an all-black KKK suit. I was like, I mean, it's probably something that we don't know that he knows that, because I feel like there's no way he's not like trolling to a sense, because the things he's saying are so outlandish. I'm just like, bro, you have to be trolling to say the things that you're saying. Like, you have to be joking.
That was a real thing that happened. Somebody unexpectedly launched a surface-to-air missile and hit the UFO. It fell to Earth not far away and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. At that very instant, 23 soldiers who had watched the phenomenon turned into stone poles. Only 2 soldiers who stood in the shade and were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived. Remains of the UFO and the petrified soldiers were transferred to a secret scientific research institution near Moscow. Specialists assumed that a source of energy that is still unknown to Earthlings instantly changed the structure of the soldiers' living organisms, having transformed it into a substance whose molecular composition is no different from that of limestone. This is an extremely menacing case. The aliens possess such weapons and technology that go beyond all our assumptions. They can stand up for themselves if attacked.
Famous autopsies just 6 days after his 21st birthday, Juice WRLD would fatally OD. Chicago police arrived to Midway Airport to assist federal authorities with a private jet that is landed at around 1:30 that's said to contain a large quantity of narcotics. It ended up being Juice WRLD's plane, and it contained 41 bags of weed and like 6 bottles of liquid codeine. We were all in the lobby when Juice started seizing, and blood that was the consistency of coffee grounds was coming from his face. He was throwing up this blood that, like I said, was the consistency of coffee grounds. And here are all of the things that they tried to do to save his life. Obviously, it did not work. There's a list of all the substances that were in his body, like caffeine, oxyhydrose, codeine, promethazine, naloxone. He was a heavy user. He rapped about this, and people around him said the same. He recently went to the doctor before this happened for heart and chest pains, and a sign of internal bleeding is when that you have like the blood that's consistency of coffee grounds. That's a good sign that you have internal bleeding. His body was really starting to feel the effects of long-term use, as your body can only take so much. His COD was labeled as codeine and oxycodone toxicity. Addiction is such a scary disease, so don't ever be scared to ask for help, seek help, any of the above.
He was another artist that was really young. Apparently he died at 21 years old from an OD, and that's crazy, dude. And like he was saying with the coffee grounds thing, apparently coffee grounds happens if you have internal bleeding and some of the blood partially digests, and when you throw that up, it looks like coffee grounds. It's actually crazy.
Top 7 Worst Bottled Water Brands to Avoid in the USA, Part 1. Number 7, Deer Park, marketed as 100% natural spring water. Tests revealed it contains PFAS chemicals which are linked to cancer and hormone disruption. Though legal, even low amounts raise health concerns over time. Number 6, Fiji Water. Despite its luxury image, it's been found to contain high levels of microplastics. Critics also point to its huge carbon footprint and the fact that many Fijians still lack access to clean water locally. Number 5, Crystal Geyser. This brand pleaded guilty to illegally dumping arsenic waste from its filtration process. It's also been flagged for microplastic contamination and misleading purity claims on the label. Number 4, Aquafina. Made from filtered tap water, Aquafina was forced to add that to its label in 2007. It's known for bland taste, misleading branding, and contains microplastics like many other bottled waters today.
Last week, the country that started the Industrial Revolution announced that they would be closing down their last remaining factory that can make steel from scratch, effectively ending a 265-year era. The UK was also about to become the only G7 nation without primary steelmaking. But then, just yesterday, something crazy happened. For only the 6th time since World War II, the British government called an emergency Saturday meeting to pass a law that would prevent British Steel from closing down. But here's why that's so wild. Because 1, British Steel is not British. It's Chinese. And 2, British Steel wanted to close down that factory because it was losing them £700,000 a day. So the UK government has now got this impossible decision to make. Either let it close down and risk national security, huge job losses, and be forced to rely on other countries for critical industries like defense or infrastructure. Or the other option is to take control of British Steel and absorb those losses of close to £1 million a day, a cost that is paid with by taxpayer money. And after much debate, they decided that the cost of doing nothing and letting the factory close down would be much higher in the long run. So, lawmakers passed an emergency rescue. But here's the risky part. There's no guarantee that the government can turn the operation around. If demand doesn't improve or cost doesn't fall, it could literally become a bottomless money pit. And lastly, the law that they passed gives the government operation, but not even ownership of British Steel. The only other large-scale steelmaker in the UK is Tata Steel, and they are owned by India. So the question is, can the British government turn this situation around, or are they cooked?
Have you ever wondered why babies come out crying? This is one of the most disturbing conspiracy theories, so if you're alone, don't watch this. Some people say it's because they're adjusting to the world, but others have a darker story. Some say that babies come out crying because they remember something, but not about this life, about their past life. There's a theory that babies are aware before birth. They are aware of who they are or who they used to be. Their names, everything. Even how they passed away and what they did wrong. And during those few seconds of rebirth, they know that they're gonna come live again and maybe have another chance. Or maybe a punishment. And as they grow, the memories fade away, and they completely forget little by little about what they really were. Their visions disappear, and that's why they call it growing up. But maybe, just maybe, they were trying to warn us. But the real question is, what do you guys think about why babies cry while they're being born? Do you believe this theory to be real, or is it just something made up? Like I said, everyone has their opinions, but what do you think?
Scientists say the reason why babies cry is because, like, in the Stone Age days, if babies didn't cry, they would end up getting lost or something like that. So, like, it kind of get built in over time for babies to cry, so they get more attention from their parents. That theory is quite interesting, though. I don't necessarily see it as a fact, but I could definitely see it as, like, a decent theory. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments.
The darkest conspiracy theories. The Hollow Earth Theory. The Hollow Earth Theory is a captivating concept that suggests the Earth is not solid but rather hollow, with openings at the poles leading to a mysterious inner realm. Proponents of this theory believe that within the Earth's core exists a hidden civilization, possibly more advanced than our own. They argue that ancient cultures like the Mayans and Egyptians possessed knowledge of this inner world, as depicted in their intricate artworks and texts. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Hollow Earth theory is the idea of a central sun. Instead of our familiar sun, supporters propose that a miniature sun exists at the center of the Earth, providing light and warmth to the inner inhabitants. Evidence cited for this theory includes anomalous compass readings near the poles, strange seismic activity, and alleged sightings of UFOs entering and exiting the Earth through polar openings. Some even speculate that mythical lands like Atlantis and Shambhala might be located within the Hollow Earth, serving as sanctuaries for advanced civilizations throughout history.
Imagine being savagely attacked by 2 adult chimps, because that is exactly what happened to 62-year-old St. James and 61-year-old LaDonna Davis. So this is St. James and this is LaDonna, and on March 3rd of 2005, they hop in their car to go to the Animal Haven near Bakersfield, California, which is where their son Mo is. And Mo isn't a human, this is their son Mo. They had raised Mo like their son, letting him sleep in the bed with them, dressing him up, as you see here, throwing parties for him. He was full on an animal, but they treated him like a human. Mo had lived with them for nearly 30 years, but he attacked one of the guests and bit off her thumb at their house, so he was forced to go to the Haven. After this, the couple visited him at the ranch as much as possible, and on this particular day, they were there to celebrate his 39th birthday. Mo wasn't the only animal there, and all the animals at this time were supposedly locked up. LaDonna goes in and she's setting up a little party thing. She's fixing up a picnic table and she's getting ready to cut the cake for Mo when 2 adult chimps just rush her. They escape their cages and they jump on her, biting her thumb off, and she's trying to fight them off, but a human is no match for 2 adult chimps. It'd be hard enough fighting 1, but 2 of them no match. So her husband comes rushing in, he hears the screams, and he kind of puts himself between her and the 2 chimps. After this, they just go savage on St. James. One goes high, one goes low. The one up high, like, takes its finger and his eyeball out, bites off his whole nose, does the same thing to his lips, and takes his mouth and starts St. James' teeth out with its teeth. His eyebrow off, and then they pretty much grab him by the ear and the skin off, and it's just left dangling half of his face. One down low is literally his booty off. It's chewing into his thighs, his abdomen, his man parts, all of it. It also ate of his 10 fingers and his toes. Relative of the owner of the Haven hears the commotion, rushes in, shoots both chimps till that they are. St. James is rushed to the hospital. He undergoes dozens of surgeries and 6 months in the hospital, but survives. You can see him here, and then here's LaDonna. She also survived and just lost a finger. I believe that what caused the other chimps to attack was their jealousy for all the attention Mo was getting, and he was getting cake and they weren't, and that caused them to lash out and go crazy. Mo was moved to another facility after this and ended up escaping in 2008 and has never been seen again. After this, LaDonna did an interview where she said she misses Mo more than ever and that she hopes he's making good choices wherever he is.
Scariest conspiracy theories in the world that will seriously change your life. So this right here shows all the conspiracy theories from the most well-known ones that we all know to the darkest of the dark. In this series we're going to be going from the most well-known ones to the darkest of the dark, which will probably keep you up all night. Having to do the research into all of these is probably going to disturb the hell out of me, but you know, I'm doing it for you guys, so make sure you hit that follow button. Part 1. Let's go. Today we're going to be talking about Area 51, but not how you think. Trust me, this is wild. This guy right here is Bob Lazar. Now, he used to work at Area 51. Now, Area 51 is, of course, one of the biggest conspiracy theories out there. What is it? Why can't we go near there? Is it just a military base? Bob claims he used to work there, reverse engineering alien craft. Now, this right here is his actual drawing of an alien craft. Yeah, crazy, right? This is where it gets mental. Absolutely mental. I think Area 51 is this place, right? According to Bob, this is not where all the crazy stuff happened. It's actually down the road here, in a place called Area S4. Area S4 is located up in the mountains, completely top secret, and nobody knows really what it is until Bob came out about it. Bob claims he would be taken to Area S4, which is an underground facility where he would work on the alien craft. Put the coordinates into Google and look at this place, it's just crazy. The road which leads straight up to it, the road ends right there, and then there's just like holes in the ground. So there is definitely something there. What I'm saying is all from Bob. There is literally a documentary about this. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, you may have seen it. Yeah. Let me know what you think, because this is crazy. The series is about to get a whole lot crazier, so make sure you hit that follow button. I'll see you in the next one.
Like I've been saying for a long time now, the Bob Lazar stories are always interesting to me, because it's like there's a lot of people like Edward Snowden that literally exposed the NSA for tapping into our phones without our knowledge, and he had to go to Russia. But Bob Lazar is out here telling us about aliens, his top secret information about Area 51, and he's just chilling. How?
Invisible string theory. The universe will keep two people apart until the timing is right. You'll meet in the most random of circumstances, only to find out that they were hidden in plain sight the whole time. There's a video that was released, right? And it was trending, it was going viral and stuff.
Let me see. So it's like a 5-minute video of Britney at this festival. It's so blurry and badly shot from '96 that you can't really make out any faces, which makes this video even more bizarre.
Watch.
There's Britney. All right, get ready for this. Ready? Britney. Me. What? It's not even possible.
What the f? So they were in each other's lives since they were kids, bro. And that's the whole invisible string theory, that the universe or whatever, a higher power is saving this person for you, but they have to be in your life eventually, bro. They're gonna be in the background the whole time. Think about it, bro. They never knew each other.
Yeah.
He didn't even acknowledge her, bro.
That's beautiful. Are we considered part of the invisible string theory?
Low key, bro. We so happened to go to fucking aerobics.
And then we got separated.
Worked at McDonald's. And now we're doing YouTube, bro. It's like it was a part of life, bro. It was supposed to happen that way.
Let us know your guys' person who you met in your life who makes sense with this whole invisible string.
Dude, that is so beautiful. If any of you guys ever had an experience like this, send this video to that person.
People who live streamed their passings, part 1. Here we have 19-year-old Ocean, who was from France, and she worked at a retirement home. On May 10th of 2016, she would go live on what would be her last Periscope of her life. She'd start this live in her apartment, talking about how depressed she was and how she couldn't really find the energy to get out of bed. She'd also go on to talk about her ex and how bad of a person he was and how that he had abused her. Even with all this, she'd be picked on and made fun of in the comments throughout the whole live. During this live, she would warn her younger viewers and tell them to sign off, as she has something very big planned as her way to send a message, but like I said, nobody was really taking her too seriously. Eventually, she'd end up leaving her apartment and heading over to Egley train station, where she would sadly throw herself right into a train, and this train would hit her, and unfortunately, she would not survive. This would all be captured on live, and the next thing you'd see would be one of the first responders attempting to end the live stream, and he would actually do that at around 4:30.
This is just horrifying. In 2011, Daniel Bartlett, who was 14 years old at the time, ran out of his burning house with his younger brother and dog. They waited for the emergency services to arrive, and when the police questioned Daniel, he told them that someone had broken into the house and harmed his mother and then set the house on fire. But after this initial statement, Daniel told the police the very disturbing and sickening truth. He said that he crept into his mother's room at night with a claw hammer in his hand. He then stood over his own mother while she slept, and as he looked down on her, he raised the hammer and hit her in the head 7 times, and after he was done, he poured gasoline around her bedroom and then set the house on fire. The disturbing thing is, Daniel's mother was only identified through her dental records, and as the police searched the house, they found the hammer used in the attack in Daniel's bedroom. They also found a document on his computer where he written a story featuring a character with his name. Another disturbing part about this case was that a popular TV show in the UK called Coronation Street had recently showed a story where one of the characters murdered a woman with a hammer, and the storyline in the TV show resembled a striking resemblance of what Daniel had done. The police also found TV clips of the scene from the episode of Coronation Street, along with other violent scenes from the popular TV films on Daniel's computer. The media then gave Daniel the nickname the Coronation Street Killer. Daniel's stepfather had also spoken about Daniel's behavior before the awful incident took place, and he said that he had plastic boxes full of Star Wars and Doctor Who figures, and Daniel would just urinate in the boxes. Daniel also defecated all over his bedroom, and what's strange is Daniel was raised by his mother in a very stable home, and by all accounts, Daniel was a normal young boy. The family had moved to a different area in 2009, and that's the year he began to become more reclusive, spending most of his time in his bedroom playing video games and watching horror films. His stepfather blamed the video games and the horror films on why Daniel murdered, but I don't believe that at all. Daniel said that he killed his mother because of an argument that they had, and she called him a freak. But with no evidence of abuse in the home, the motive is still unclear. Daniel was found guilty of murder. This whole case is just sad, especially because everyone that knew Daniel's mother said that she lived for her children and was a warm, loving mother.
Are they trying to hide the fact that the Earth could be hollow? This is easily one of the most plausible conspiracy theories of all time, because we've discovered systems that stretch for miles and miles and miles and have their own ecosystem. There's a whole world beneath us and they might be keeping it a secret. Why, you might ask? Because they would have to rewrite all of our history. There's possibly species that they have claimed went extinct millions of years ago that are still around under these pockets of Earth. In 1947, Admiral Richard Byrd, a decorated naval officer, claims to have flown through a massive hole in Antarctica, and what he saw was mind-blowing. He described a beautiful, lush land filled with giant creatures and super advanced beings, all living in the hollow Earth, according to top-secret documents. A lot of people believe this is being covered up and the government classified his diary and other documents. Could this be explained why Antarctica is a no-fly zone and you can't go there? I mean, this theory to me is not that far-fetched. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, and stay weird.
Let's talk more of the worst things someone's confessed to before passing. This brings us to Jeffrey Gafford and the murder of 20-year-old Lynette White. So on Valentine's Day of 1988, Lynette's body is found inside of her flat, and she had been stabbed 69 times. Witnesses described seeing a white dude in his mid-30s with dark hair frantically leaving the scene. He was in the vicinity of her James Street flat, and they said that he even had blood on his clothing. Even with this, in November of 1990, 3 men are arrested, charged, and sentenced to life in prison, but by 1992, they're released in what the court called unsafe, and they quashed it. This also led to many people speaking out about it and calling it an injustice, but after this, the case went cold. So by now it's January of 2002, and DNA testing's come a long way since then, and so they are able to create a reliable DNA profile from the blood found at Lynette's flat. This gives him a partial match to a 14-year-old boy who wasn't even born at the time of the murder, so that rules him out, and then it leads them into the direction of Jeffrey Gafford. Jeffrey was a security guard at his family's shop nearby where Lynette was found. By now, Jeffrey realizes the police are hot on his tail, so he takes a bunch of pills to try and off himself, but police bust in and he's rushed to the hospital. So by now, Jeffrey thinks he's a goner, so he turns to the officers on the way to the hospital and says, "For the record, I murdered Lynette White. I have waited for this moment for 15 years. Jeffrey ends up surviving this, and while in court, he confesses that he went over to Lynette's flat to get it on with her, which he paid her for, and when he saw the state of her flat and how messy it was, he wanted his money back. She refused. They sent him into a frenzy where he both her wrists, stabbed her in the throat, and stabbed her in the arms, chest, torso. He's prosecuted and pleads guilty on July 4th, and he's ordered to serve a minimum of 13 years, and sadly, he was granted his day release in January of 2023, which is pretty scary.
Which beach in Florida do you think is the most dangerous? Number 10, Miramar Beach, Florida. Dangerous rip currents. Number 9, Melbourne Beach, 19 shark attacks. Number 8, Atlantic Beach, sharks and deadly rip currents. Number 7, Ponce Inlet, 34 shark bites, horrifying. Number 6, Ormond Beach, lots of rip current accidents. Number 5, Cocoa Beach, 26 shark attacks, no kidding. Number 4, Miami Beach, 124 storms threatening, and the top 3 will send chills down your spine. Number 3, Daytona Beach, 18 shark attacks, 44 lives lost. Number 2, Panama City Beach, 32 didn't survive the rip currents. Number 1, New Smyrna Beach, shark capital, with 185 bites. Be careful at these beaches if you're planning a coastal trip.
Honestly, I should make a video visiting those beaches. If y'all didn't know, I actually have a video coming out where I visit one of Florida's most dangerous Everglades. I'm working on it right now. Hopefully I can get it out by Friday or even the weekend, or if not, at latest sometime next week. Make sure to check that video. But I don't know, bro, like shark attacks are kind of scary. That's crazy, because when I went to Florida, I've been to like many of those beaches that he listed, so that's crazy. I mean, I didn't get into the water because, you know what I'm saying, I didn't need to like really do all that, but it's crazy to see them on that list.
It is hard to believe, but Joe Biden is officially back. They really won't let that bro retire, because for the first time since his presidency, he spoke publicly, and he immediately jumped straight into one of the most heated political fights right now: Social Security. He also still has enough in him to throw out shots at Trump, saying that he's amazed at how much destruction could be caused in such a short period of time. Oh, and after this speech, bro is still not even close to being done. Reports say that he's currently putting his thoughts together for a third book, that he's signed to a talent agency in LA, so there's rumors about a potential involvement in media or entertainment projects, and he's even begun fundraising efforts to build the Joseph E. Biden Library in his home state of Delaware. He even said that he's considering running again in 2028. I'm kidding.
Ever wonder why you never see baby pigeons? What if pigeons aren't real birds at all, but government surveillance drones? Think about it. Pigeons are everywhere in cities, watching from wires, acting weirdly unafraid of humans. And during lockdowns, when people stayed inside, pigeon sightings dropped. Coincidence? Or were they being recharged? What are they really watching? And more importantly, who's controlling them?
This is one of the darkest human experiments in history. It's called the Little Albert experiment, and this baby is Little Albert. And 2 psychologists literally taught him how to have a phobia of something he didn't have before. And unfortunately, that was just the tip of the iceberg in terms of how unethical this was. So here's the full story. Reminder, I cover a lot of dark stories on this channel. Severe discretion is advised, but follow along if you want to hear more. In 1920, a psychologist named John Watson and his assistant wanted to see if they could create a conditioned fear response in a baby. Bear in mind that in 1920, the science of psychology was still like the Wild West and very much in its infancy. So like ethics and potential negative psychological effects were like never considered. So here's how the experiment worked. They showed little Albert a bunch of animals, like a dog, a monkey, a cat, and a little white rat. And at first, no big deal. He wasn't scared at all. He actually tried to play with them. But then things took a turn. The next time they brought out the animals, they paired it with a terrifying, loud noise over and over again. And the result? After doing this enough times, little Albert just started to freak out at the sight of the animals, but it didn't stop there. His fear started to become generalized. Little Albert became scared of anything fluffy. They made this child afraid of soft things, like stuffed animals, cotton, coats, even the psychologist's beard. And if that's not bad enough, here's the worst part. These psychologists never unconditioned him. He was never untaught the fear. And I'm sure you're asking about his mother. So first off, little Albert's mother was never informed about what the doctors were doing to her child. I'm not even joking. So without this knowledge, she took her child and she moved away. So there was no help, no follow-up, the experiment just ended. And what happened to little Albert remains a mystery. He's basically been reduced to a chapter in a textbook about how we intentionally traumatized a baby in the name of science. Researchers have speculated for decades on his true identity, but the truth is that we'll really never know what became of little Albert. We don't know if he died young or lived a long life with a fear of anything white and fluffy. What we do know is that as a baby, little Albert was subjected to inhumane and unethical treatment. Scientists taught him to associate comfort with terror, and then they abandoned him. And it continues today to be one of those experiments that broadens the space between curiosity and cruelty.
They've been trying to tell you all along, but you never listen. Buzz Aldrin, the famous astronaut who was on the moon, was trying to tell us that the moon landing was fake the whole time. Just watch this video.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No,
which
you
was
didn't. No, you didn't.
What?
You watched animation. So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memory.
Not a bad line. Not a bad line.
There is no such thing as gravitational pull. We lied to you.
Maybe this whole operation was never really about reaching the moon. What if the entire mission was just a carefully planned distraction to keep us from paying attention to what's actually happening here on Earth?
There's no way he actually said all that. That's actually crazy. I wonder if he's being serious, because if he's being serious, I feel like that breaches a lot of contracts.
So if it wasn't crazy enough that these dudes just testified before Congress under oath that there are aliens here, the comments on YouTube are freaking out about her, because Miss Luna here does not play games. So listen to what she asks and then watch this man's answer straight defy physics.
In our previous panel, we had Grush, and he had testified to say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
The human body can withstand about 9 G-forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts and ultimately redouts and even death. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is one of this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G-forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
And in the reports, this isn't just in the air, this is underwater too. This brought to mind a supposedly controversial theory behind the seemingly impossible movement of UAPs, if we can in fact call it movement at all. He proposed that the way we were looking at it was limited, and that rather than moving through space as we know it, that instead these vehicles travel by shifting their point of realization in the field, which to any onlookers would certainly simulate movement, but would be more aptly described as a kind of rapid, continuous teleportation of sorts. So despite physically traveling, the object technically would be stationary, which in theory would make maneuvers of this magnitude survivable for organics. Which is why her inference that they might be living craft is an astute observation, because the instantaneous acceleration reported by multiple sources far surpasses the speed at which someone could access a control panel. It doesn't move like good reflexes, it moves more like straight synapse. And the actual scariest part is that despite all this, rent is still due.
Katy Perry faked her space trip. More and more evidence and inconsistencies suggest that the entire story of her flight aboard the Blue Origin rocket was a carefully staged illusion rather than a real space mission. Allegedly, she flew to space along with 5 other women without a single man in the crew, a completely female-only team, which is already unusual. The flight supposedly lasted a total of 11 minutes, including the return to Earth. But what raises the most suspicion is the fact that not a single camera showed the inside of the rocket during the entire flight. In an era when every second of such missions is usually broadcast live from multiple angles, this lack of footage seems more like an attempt to hide something than a technical issue. Upon landing, the capsule hit the ground at around 25 miles per hour. That's quite a hard impact, and yet not a single person was injured, not even scratched. Reportedly, all of them came out smiling and full of enthusiasm, as if they landed on a pillow, not hard ground. Doesn't that sound suspicious? In addition, it took almost 15 minutes before they opened the capsule after landing. If everything went smoothly, why the delay? Where was the medical team, the doctors, the standard procedures for checking vital signs after a space flight?
Thousands of people believe that there are portals in the Walmart parking lots. They've reported seeing strange creatures and have had unexplainable glitch in the reality types of moments. Creator Yaya's World claims to have seen a creepy lady with a smile. She was in the parking lot with her daughter and saw a strange woman whose smile stretched all the the way across her face. They both looked at each other, and when they looked back up, the woman was gone. That's when she received almost 5,000 comments full of other stories. People are saying that the energy is dark. Some people in there look soulless if you really pay attention. I feel like no matter what Walmart I go to in any city or state, I promise I see the same people every time. I get extremely tired when I go into Walmart. This person says Walmart has underground tunnels where they are trafficking people, and reminds everybody of the missing children posters in Walmart. Apparently South Park also made an episode about these weird Walmart vibes, and this person has been a spiritualist for 19 years and says that Walmart is full of demons. Walmart is the only place where I feel like I'm being followed, or I keep bumping into the same people, and time is never right. I disassociate so bad in Walmart, everything feels fake, I never know how to explain it. A girl said she saw herself and her kids from 10 years ago in Walmart, and there was a third kid there, but she only had 2 kids, so she believes that it was her son that she miscarried. Many people experience time distortions, like feeling like you're losing track of time, or time is moving too fast or slow. They reference people frozen in time or duplicated, like a loop effect. People describe the store's energy as a dungeon-like place, and it's soulless. People are also very suspicious about the layout, like how secluded the children's aisle is. Tati shares a story where she was working the night shift at 3 a.m. The parking lot was completely empty, and then 3 strange women appeared. One mysteriously knew her name even though she wasn't wearing her employee ID, so she immediately tried to hide, but they found her and they started laughing eerily. She felt a very strong sense of danger and fled. And the store had previously been staffed, but now that location is practically empty and can never keep employees. Afterwards, she said she experienced whispers, laughing from the back seat, sleep paralysis, and nightmares for days. Let me know if you think this is just Walmart being Walmart, or if you think it's maybe haunted.
Hey, no more gatekeeping all of the good conspiracy theories that I've come across lately in the past year. I want to tell you guys one that I found on Reddit recently that has a lot of people side-eyeing NASA, and it's called the Devon Island theory. Basically, the theory is that NASA is faking their Mars rover images here. I know a lot of you are also thinking, why would NASA go all the way to the North Pole? It's snowing there. There's no real resources there. I'd also like to mention, no one lives there. It's a complete isolated desert, which is locally nicknamed Mars on Earth. It's the largest uninhabited island on Earth, spanning across 23,000 square miles. Theorists believe that this just makes it the perfect place to film Mars rover footage because it's untouched and the only way you can get there is by plane to the desert. So this is where side-by-sides came into play, and it started to dawn on people that these aren't 2 different places but the same place. Some of these pictures from the rover are just flat out the same picture, just with like a different tint or color on it. So then other people were trying to defend NASA, saying that there's more than 1 rover on Mars. There's, I think, 5 or 6 in total. But then again, that still rings the question, as big as Mars is, why would you just have them all circle around and take the same exact pictures in the same spots? That doesn't add up. So the part that threw everybody over the edge was when NASA confirmed there is a Mars replicated colony on this island. They didn't confirm or deny anything else. Everything else is still allegedly, but they did confirm that there is a Mars replicated colony on that island, and they do specialize in use rovers there. It's called the Flashline Mars Arctic Research Center, and it's heavily funded by NASA. In fact, all of the equipment that they really use, their technology, rovers, robots, everything, is given to them by NASA. Basically, all of the research that they're doing on this island, NASA owns it. Yes, Canada and a couple of countries that are in the Arctic, and I think a few from Europe, also are funding this place, but all of the equipment and technology, yeah, that's being given by NASA. This caused lots of people to start questioning NASA, because after everything with the moon, now coming around and maybe finding out that everything about Mars isn't even true either, it's not really looking good for them. The cherry on top for me is when I was doing the research on this video is that I found out there are actually 89 of these colonies spread out around the world. Spread across the Arctic, Canada, Russia, Northern Europe. There's even one here in Utah down in the States. But it really makes me wonder just how they collage thousands of pictures to create this. What if they're trying to do the same thing on the surface of Mars? I don't know. I wouldn't put it past NASA if they've already done it before, but I want to know what you guys think. I'm pretty indifferent whether it's true or whether it's real. I wouldn't be shocked either way, but what do you guys think?
Do y'all think they're really faking the NASA on Mars things? I feel like they could, but like why? Like why fake that we've been to Mars when we really haven't, you know?
You ever meet someone who's always a bit off? They forget deadlines, ask the same questions twice, seem kind of slow. You laugh it off. You stop seeing them as competition, but then suddenly they're ahead of you. They get the deal, the promotion, the power. This is day 13 of the path to power. It's a classic strategy, controlled weakness. By appearing clumsy, passive, or distracted, you lower the defenses of everyone around you. They relax, they talk too much, they stop watching you. Meanwhile, you're quietly listening, positioning, planning, collecting information, and when the moment's right, you make the move no one saw coming. That's exactly how Talleyrand, the French diplomat, survived revolutions, kings, and emperors. He acted slow, almost lazy. People thought he was irrelevant, but behind the scenes, he was manipulating everyone, signing secret treaties, shifting alliances, even betraying Napoleon at just the right time. By the time they realized what he'd done, it was already too late. He was still standing, and they were gone.
This is not a conspiracy. This is scary. So in 2018, scientists discovered a black hole 16 million light years away. They were watching it literally swallow a star. Black hole.
And where is it going?
Listen to this. What they thought they knew of black holes, well, they don't know a lot, but it's just like stuff gets sucked into it because it's just this mad force of gravitational pull that just sucks everything in.
Yeah.
This year, it was 3 years after they discovered this. This year, they looked at the same black hole and it was spitting the star back out. Like, so light and stuff was coming out of this black hole. Just like, so it was like regurgitating this star.
Just
but
recycling it.
Like broken apart though. So it's like, what's on the other side of that black hole?
It was the star was broken?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought a star was just a ball of gas.
It is.
It chewed him.
But light and stuff was coming out of it. Like, so it was like it sucked the star in with the light, like the fire, all that, whatever a star is, and it was spitting it straight back out.
A lot of people that believe that black holes are actually wormholes that connects to like another part of the universe. So that black hole probably could have sucked up like a sun from another side of the universe and just put it and like kind of teleport it to our side.
Which is the safest place to live in Florida? Most Floridians know that the most dangerous place to live in Florida is Florida City. So which is the safest place to live in Florida? Fifth place, Satellite Beach. Satellite Beach on Florida's Space Coast has low crime, violent acts rare, property crime 76% below state average, offering safe, charming coastal living. Fourth place, Parkland. Parkland in Broward County boasts a crime rate 70% below the national average, offering a peaceful, family-friendly vibe with top schools and parks. Third place, Naples. Naples, a Gulf Coast gem, has a crime rate 45% below the U.S. average, with low violence, ideal for retirees seeking safety and luxury. In the second place, Weston. Weston in Broward County near Miami has crime rates 80% below the national average, offering a secure suburban haven for families and retirees. Before announcing the first place, comment in the section below the place you think that is the safest place to live in Florida. The place ranks first on Florida's Gulf Coast, ranks among the safest with nearly no violent crime, offering a tranquil, secure life for residents. That's Marco Island.
Trump administration wants to start deporting American citizens, and Kilmar Garcia is the test case. I'm going to say it again because this isn't hyperbole. Trump wants the power to deport American citizens, and Kilmar Garcia is the test case. Kilmar Garcia was mistakenly deported to El Salvador's mega prison despite being under legal protection in the U.S. since 2019. A federal judge ordered Trump administration's DHS to bring him back. The Trump administration itself said no. Subsequently, the Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration has to facilitate Kilmar Garcia's return to the U.S. Now, the Trump administration is dragging its feet, saying they don't take this order from the Supreme Court as an actual requirement. They think they're above the law. They think they can get away with it. And I'll give you 3 things about it. Thing number 1, this is a test case to deport U.S. citizens and anyone Trump doesn't like. This isn't just about undocumented immigrants. The Trump administration is laying the groundwork to strip due process protections from anyone they consider a threat. The government is fighting tooth and nail to fight the return of Kilmar Garcia to the United States, because if they do return him, they have lost the base of their argument. And they are trying to make the argument that they can deport anyone at any time, despite their legal status, just because they consider them a threat. That's the slipperiest of slopes, because once we establish that precedent, what's to stop them from deporting their political rivals or protesters or you? Thing number 2, if they return him, Kilmar Garcia news stories are going to flood the airwaves for months, and that's the last thing the Trump administration wants. Trump doesn't want the visuals of a wrongly deported man being escorted off a plane with shackles and PTSD. That's a political nightmare and also a story that cuts through the noise. Because yes, it's about immigration, but also about the state kidnapping a man off the streets and wrongfully deporting him to a gang-infested prison. That image is why they're stalling. They can't afford the optics. Thing number 3, this is the constitutional crisis people have been warning you about. The executive branch of the government is openly defying a Supreme Court order. They are arguing that the president can ignore the judiciary when it comes to immigration or foreign affairs. That's the clinical definition of a dictatorship.
How have I not heard of this? In 2022, an artist put a 410-pound block of gold worth $12 million in the middle of Central Park and left it there unsupervised for a day. How did somebody not steal this bitch? Maybe they had surveillance, maybe, but you get 4 guys, ski mask, you pick that shit. I don't know where you're going to bring it. You could pick it up and move it, though. All the old people in the park. Oh, no. Like, it's not that big of a cube. I know it's dense, okay? Picking this up probably seems easier said than done. But where there's a will, there's a way. $12 million worth of gold just sitting in Central Park. Nobody tried to steal it.
Dude, that is wild. $12 million? I mean, to be fair, that thing definitely is not moving from where it's at. You could tell it's just like, it's dense.
For the first time ever, scientists have captured stunning 4K footage of a live colossal squid, one of nature's most mysterious giants, in its natural deep-sea habitat. Filmed by California's Schmidt Ocean Institute near the South Sandwich Islands, the video shows the creature's transparent body and pink tentacles gliding at 1,968 feet below the surface. Though colossal squid can grow up to 23 feet long, this specimen was just 11 inches, a teenager, according to Expedition Chief Scientist Dr. Michelle Taylor. While adults have only been seen dead, usually in fishing nets or whale stomachs, this rare live glimpse is a milestone in deep-sea exploration. The footage, later confirmed by experts who spotted distinctive arm hooks, offers vital insight into the biology and behavior of the world's largest invertebrate, and reminds us how much of the ocean's magic is still undiscovered.
I also have an end of the world theory.
What happened?
The CNN founder, a long time ago when CNN was in its early stages, he said, I want you to make a tape that we will play at when the world is gonna end.
Oh, they have one of those?
Yeah. So it's on YouTube. Everyone can search it up. So
it's already out.
No, like it got leaked.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
So what it is, it's a band playing in front of the White House. It's a Christian hymn.
So the moment the world ends, they're gonna play that shit live stream everywhere.
Yeah. So it's the Christian hymn is called "Nearer, My God, to Thee," and it's the exact song that was playing when the Titanic was sinking.
Oh, really?
So they got the band, they put it in front of the White House, and they started playing it.
Yeah.
The guy was recording it. Boom, they gave it to the founder. So when the world is supposed to end, CNN is supposed to broadcast it live. Like they're gonna show it on the news. Boom, the headlines go up. But you'll know when it ends because that tape will play the day of, they say.
Oh my God.
And you'll hear that hymn everywhere.
Oh, that's dark.
And then boom, that's
fucking
how you
dark
know.
though.
Yeah.
That's grim as shit.
Because
it's like you already know the end is coming and you're just setting the tone. You're literally setting the
I invented technology that is going to change the world, and I have a very important update about it. So I recently created technology that makes you dream while you're awake, and that was all I thought it did until I went to a medical conference and I had doctors, I had very high profile people trying it, and they absolutely loved it. That's the good news. Now I have even more good news. A half-deaf individual tried it and he has not needed his hearing aid in 4 days. He also is reporting that his hand tremors are down by 50%. People all across the internet with the medical condition aphantasia are saying Septisync is slowly making it go away. I cannot tell you how many things on Reddit and different forums I have read of people talking about my creation. And to top that off even more, it works on all of the fully deaf individuals we've tested it on. Something that relies on audio processing to change your brainwaves might not rely on audio processing after all. Now, with all of these things happening, I need clinical trials. This could literally change the world and do so much good, but I have to make $3 million to pay scientists. That is how much one round of clinical trials will cost me. Now, I promised you guys I would price this in a way where everyone can afford it, and I think I have come to a very good middle ground. Now, I've made 8 tapes. I am putting 9 more tapes on the website today. 8 of them are the same tapes you've heard, but with a louder voiceover in case you're having hardware issues. The 9th tape is 11 minutes long, and it's called Sleepless Rest. Oh, I lied. There's a 10th tape. It's tape 8, but 2 hours long. Now, there will be more tapes coming from more utilities. As I'm learning more about my invention and how it works, I'm starting to understand where I can apply this. Now, with all of this added value coming in, I have figured out a good price point. It is either going to be $5 a month for everything I've created and everything I will create in the future, or $45 one time. That will get me to the 3 million marker quickly, and I will be able to get clinical testing and figure out how and, more importantly, why Septisync even works. This should not work according to science, but we're like 4,500 people deep, and we haven't gotten a review under 5 stars. It works. So now's your last call. If you want to get Septisync and everything I create in the future for $10, this is your last call. I will make the new pricing live tonight or tomorrow morning when I wake up. I apologize it has come to this, but this could change the world, and this needs to be tested. This could do so much good for humanity in so many different ways. But I love you guys all so much. Thank you for always watching, and enjoy this good review.
Okay, so my experience was quite amazing. It was like I was awake and asleep at the same time. I felt my eyes going into like REM state. My body was super calm, and I just felt like, I don't know, like my system, my nervous system was just calm, and it felt like I was in between stages of like awake and sleep. So, but my brain feels like relaxed, and I feel like I took a 30-minute nap. So, and that was only 10 minutes, I think, right?
Yeah, 11 minutes.
11 minutes. So in 11 minutes, I feel so refreshed, and I feel so much better, and my brain feels clear. So I'm definitely signing up for this.
I'm trying to figure out what universe we're living in, because bro could just give out like dreams. Like, how can you just deal out dreams like that? Like, hey, I mean, if it truly works, that's amazing, but I don't know.
So, did you know China banned time travel?
What do you mean?
Listen.
How is that traveling? No, that's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So listen. So if China, right, banned time travel, made it illegal for time travel, what does that mean?
That shit is true, fam.
That means time travel is possible.
No way.
Now here's my theory.
Yeah.
What if time travel isn't something that you make with a machine, but it's something you access with your spiritual side? That's why everybody can do it, but not everybody can unlock it. Because what if a time travel machine doesn't exist? What if it's onto a different realm that we can understand in a different way?
Okay, it's like, fuck.
Because how would time and space translate to a machine? Feel me?
Yeah.
It wouldn't. But time and space does kind of manifest in yourself. Look, in a sense, when you dream of something that happened in the past, is that not necessarily like time travel?
Not necessarily.
But you still remember things from it. So you kind of put yourself in that time travel position.
Yeah.
But if to live it exactly how it is that time travel.
Oh.
I found something really weird about the 11-minute trip to space that happened today. So if you didn't know, the first all-female crew went to space today for a couple minutes. It included people like Gayle King, Katy Perry, and Lauren Sanchez, the fiance of Jeff Bezos. And watching from the bottom was Oprah Winfrey, Kris Jenner, Khloe Kardashian, a lot of celebrities involved with this. First of all, I want to talk about the outfits and the symbol in particular on the outfits. At first, it looks like just a rocket or a pod, whatever it is. But when you flip it upside down, it looks really interesting, almost like a symbol that we've seen before. And I'm not saying that this is anything demonic or anything like that, but I mean, the similarities, it's hard to ignore. I don't know who created the logo, but the outfits themselves were designed by Lauren Sanchez, and she collabed with the co-founders of Monse, which is a really popular brand. But anyway, here is a map of the flight that they took. It's done by Blue Origin, owned by Jeff Bezos. It's his company. And here are the timestamps. You can see exactly how it went down. It looks like they were in space for about 2 minutes, or the edge of space for about 2 minutes. And when they came out and landed, everyone was super emotional. I mean, Katy Perry coming out and she is kissing the ground, and there was a whole live stream going on when this was happening. You can also take a look here at what she said.
I feel super connected to love. So connected to love. I think this experience has shown me you never know how much love is inside of you, like how much love you have to give and how loved you are until the day you launch.
Okay, massive breaking news. Russell Brand has just been charged with and 2 counts of assault. He's also been charged with 1 count of oral and 1 count of indecent assault. Now, these charges also relate to 4 separate women. Crazy part about this, though, as we all remember, in 2013, Channel 4 and The Times came out with a documentary which reported on 4 women who accused Russell Brand of sexual assault. But from those incidents, he was never actually charged with anything, and they were just accusations, and they allegedly happened between 2006 and 2013. The ones that he is just being charged with allegedly happened from 1999 to 2005, meaning it does not seem that they are the same women, and they are not the same incidents. Russell has previously denied all accusations, and he said that he has never had non-consensual sex with a woman. The court date has been set to the 2nd of May, so as we know more, I'll keep you guys updated.
Here's some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 4. The Grinch has a well-known backstory about hating Christmas. However, eventually in the movie, his heart grows 3 sizes and he loves Christmas once again. But this story may continue longer than we think. It is clear that the Grinch isn't exactly right in the head, but during one of the Grinch's wacky stunts, he could have gotten a head injury. This injury would later take a toll on him as he grew old and caused him to lose his memory. After him and his dog died, they were given a new life in a realm called Halloween Town, where they now lived as Jack Skellington and Zero. He later reunites with his love for Christmas, just like he had when he was alive. Both eventually wear a Santa suit, both deliver presents, and both have a dog companion. It may be possible that How the Grinch Stole Christmas and The Nightmare Before Christmas are tied together.
Something most people don't know is you can't just put scuba tanks on and then dive down and come right back up again. The compressed air would be a mixture of oxygen as well as most likely helium and nitrogen. The oxygen would get breathed up, but the other inert gases, the helium and the nitrogen, they would be breathed up and then absorbed into your bloodstream, and they would stay there until you resurface. As you ascend, these inert gases will leave your body on their own, but it's a gradual process. If you rocket to the surface, they'll expand inside of you, and your body will become the equivalent of a shaken up soda can. The term for this condition is decompression sickness, but it's better known as the bends. The way divers protect themselves from getting the bends is on their ascent, they do what's called a decompression stop. Saturation divers, or SAT divers, do construction and demolition at depths of up to 2,000 feet below the surface. After their dives, they're artificially kept at their working depth. The way this works is the SAT diver climbs inside of a pressure chamber on board a ship, and this chamber also doubles as their living quarters. And they pressurize it to match the depth that they're going to be working at. There's another pressure chamber called the dive bell that's connected directly onto the side of the chamber, and that's also pressurized to match the working depth. There is one thing that all SAT divers are afraid of, and that is a lost bell. On August 7th, 1979, Richard Walker was inside of a pressure chamber on board a ship in the North Sea. He was a saturation diver who for the past 10 days had been in saturation. He and his partner, Victor Giel, hopped into the dive bell. And right before they lowered it into the water, somebody noticed the location transponder had become loose. And so the decision was made to just remove it and then slowly lowered it down to their working depth, which was 485 feet. A few hours later, Richard was the one outside of the dive bell, and he heard something behind him, and he saw the dive bell had slightly tilted on its side. And so Richard went inside the bell, and then he and Victor listened to the radio as they told them that the main cable holding the dive bell had slipped out. There was also another clump of wires and tubes that was called the umbilical that ran all their power and hot water and their comms down to the dive bell. But this umbilical was not meant to be load bearing. The umbilical was holding the dive bell from slipping to the bottom of the ocean. Their only choice was to use the umbilical to reel this dive bell back in, and almost immediately it completely snapped, and the dive bell fell to the bottom of the ocean about 50 feet below. When they hit the ocean floor, that hole they would normally escape from was pressed into the seabed, so they could not get out of their dive bell. They had no radio communication, they had no heat, they had no light, and they had very little remaining oxygen. 6 hours after Richard and Victor had first hit the sea floor, the rescue divers managed to get a new cable through the top of the dive bell, and they saw that Richard and Victor were just sitting there. They were clearly still alive and lucid, and then the ship began pulling up the dive bell, and almost immediately the cable snapped. And over the course of the next several hours, as these rescue divers tried desperately to get a new cable, they kept checking on Richard and Victor, and each time they checked, they would slouch lower and lower in their seats until both of them were laying on their side. And then finally, the rescue divers got a cable through the top, and then the ship was able this time to pull the dive bell up, but when they opened the door, both Richard and Victor had passed away.
what's going to come out of her mouth, but really her heart. When
and is that Jeff Bezos out there right by the capsule? Kind of hard to see.
That is correct. That is Jeff Bezos, our founder.
Go see him.
I looked outside my window, and I turned around and I looked at the other 5 windows, and my brain created a panoramic view, a panoramic photo of it, because so much of the capsule is windows, and it makes for just an incredible experience.
Sarah. Good? Okay, here we go.
Here goes Jeff Bezos to open the hatch.
She didn't really close it again. Come on out, guys.
Jeff Bezos and company staged the opening of the door to the Blue Origin hatch, and now has a lot of the conspiracy theorists saying that none of this was real. Here's the video. Look, you can see right here, the door's about to open. You see that crack? And she goes over and she's like, hey, we're not ready yet. Like, close the fucking door. So they close it again, and now here's Bezos.
Good? Okay, here we go.
All right, you ready?
Here goes Jeff
Here we go.
Bezos to open
Now,
the hatch.
watch. This door's just going to fall inward, and then listen to what he says. She didn't really close it again. She didn't really close it again. No, she didn't close it again. Now, I think this means that they just staged the opening. They wanted a big Jeff Bezos moment. He's supposed to crank this thing and open it. Welcome back to Earth. And they unfortunately caught them opening the door themselves on camera. So I think that means that they faked the door opening, not they faked the whole thing. But the problem is, when everybody hates this idea and hates the people on board, and they're looking for any little thing to tear it apart, you can't stage the door opening, and you definitely can't get caught staging the door opening. They just keep making things worse for themselves. Like Gayle King's comments about how people don't like it, it's only making things worse.
I don't like that people are calling it a ride. A ride, you know, you never see a male astronaut who's going up in space and they said, oh, he took a ride.
Bitch, we're calling it a ride because it was 11 minutes long. We're calling it a ride because there are attractions at Disney World that are longer than this.
2 of the astronauts, I still have a hard time calling myself an astronaut, but
You should have a hard time calling yourself an astronaut because you're not an astronaut. I think you're a talk show host. As far as I know, you're just Oprah's girlfriend.
I wish people would do more due diligence. And then my question is, have y'all been to space? Have you been to space? Go to space or go to Blue Origin and see what they do and how they do, and then come back and say, this is a terrible thing.
Now, first of all, let me just say, I kind of respect her looking at the camera and being like, have you been to space? Because that is a valid response. I've been saying that all along. There are people who, like, go to the top of the Empire State Building and they're like, wow, what an amazing journey. So when you get inside a rocket and you get fucking blasted out of the world, there's a little bit of like, hey, if you haven't done it, shut the fuck up. But the problem is when you come back down to Earth and start calling yourself an astronaut. The problem is when you start comparing yourself to Alan Shepard, who was the first motherfucker to go up there in a tin can like 75 years ago. It's just a tad different than, you know, a billionaire's girlfriend and another billionaire's girlfriend and an annoying pop star going on a tourist trip. All they had to do was come back down and say, that was a wild ride. And everyone would have been like, yeah, fuck yeah, that is a wild ride. But when you start saying that you changed history and you're calling yourself an astronaut and you're acting like a feminist icon, and then you tell people, why don't you go to space? It's like, well, we can't go to space. If we all could go to space, and I was a big fat pussy about it, which probably would be the case, and I didn't go, then you could talk shit. But right now, you just got a golden ticket because of who you are. And that's all you had to do was come back down and be like, I'm so blessed, I'm so lucky that I even got selected for this. Thank you, it was really cool, really fun, done. Instead, Gayle King's acting like they should, you know, put her face on the dollar bill and take George Washington off.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, that definitely was more like a ride compared to like them being actual astronauts. I feel like that's hella disrespectful for them to call themselves astronaut, knowing that astronauts have to go through like years of training just to even be able to be in the space station or even go to space. Meanwhile, they just get a free pass because they're rich and no a billionaire, so they can go to space for like 5 minutes and then say they're astronauts. Hell no.
Psychopaths cannot be rehabilitated. There is nothing currently that works to treat them or rehabilitate them. Because the thing with psychopaths is that they will mimic back any emotion. They will tell you whatever you want to hear. They will tick those boxes. They're chameleon-esque. So how do you know it's genuine? Too many people just don't understand psychopathy. And the offenders, the psychopaths, can be very charming, very plausible, very manipulative, very coercively controlling. And yet there are parole boards probably happening now deciding to release someone because they've said all the right things, they've ticked all the right boxes. But that still doesn't make them safe because the mind is the problem. So no, they can't be. Currently, present day, they cannot be rehabilitated and they are not safe to be released. Psychologists who work within the settings where there are psychopaths like Levi Belfield, they would argue that we just haven't found what works. So we shouldn't stop trying to find what works. But how do we teach empathy? How do we teach compassion?
In 1954, a strange man arrived at Tokyo Airport. It wasn't the man himself that was out of the ordinary, but rather what he was holding. That's because his passport came from a country that doesn't exist. He claimed to be from Taured, a nation no one had ever heard of. Officials were baffled because his documents looked real, so they put him in a guarded hotel room while they investigated. But by morning, he had vanished without a trace. There were no signs of forced entry or escape, and his belongings remained untouched.
Turn on the dog whistle, UAPs literally come to us day after day. To make sense of our data, we had to define a lexicon and we based it on flight characteristics. We've broken the UAPs down into 9 classes or types. Some of these classes may be the same UAP under different flight configurations, but at this point, given their behavior, we're confident they don't align with conventional or terrestrial explanations. Each UAP class has different characteristics. Some shimmer, some tumble, some spin. Some look like they're alive and they just fly like a living object in the sky. UAPs are extremely hard to image. What is seen with the naked eye is generally not what is seen under camera. The Class 1 often spins, tumbles through the sky. Craft looks like a black body. It appears to flash, pulse multiple times per second. There appears to be some kind of cloud or vapor around it. We've seen Class 1s in formations up to 22, 23, flying in different flight formations, different flock formations. The Class 2 is the classic Tic Tac. We've seen it in groups of 2 to 3, often flying very erratically. We've seen these a couple years in a row, and usually we see them in groups. The Class 3, the Blob, a pulsing, vibrating cloud. There's something, maybe perhaps a cylinder kind of in the middle that has a different light like a flame, and then it vibrates and pulses as it moves through space. The Class 4 is your orb. We've only seen it in infrared, but the Class 4 seems to only come during certain activities in conjunction with perhaps the Class 1. We don't have enough data yet to confirm. The Class 5 we call the manta ray. It seems to tumble and rotate as it moves through the sky. Class 6 is Bright Star. That one vibrates very, very fast. It literally looks like a crystal in the sky. The Class 7 is the jellyfish. It's probably about 2 meters across. The head is purple and black in color, and then it has tentacles. The Class 8 we call the hornet. It looks very similar to the Class 7, the jellyfish, except for it's bigger, and it's almost like a jellyfish carrying something. And then the Class 9 is the egg. The Class 9 isn't something we have a lot of data on. It's very limited. We have it as Skywatcher during our California event. It's an emerging class, and we have strong evidence that it probably exists, but we don't have data to concisely describe it.
I feel like we all know this one, but we might not remember the Wii Sports Mandela effect. Now, in Wii Sports, you know how the narrator or the announcer, anytime something happens in the game, especially after you win, he says something at the end. What does he say? Does he say, you win? Or does he say, victory? Which one does he say? You know at the end, the announcer,
I think he says, you win.
Yeah,
right?
right?
It has to be.
That's what I'm saying. So check this out. He doesn't say shit.
Huh? Wait, so it just ends?
It just ends. He didn't say anything.
What?
That's what I'm saying, bro. What the fuck?
Wait, is there audio though?
No,
I swear
no,
there is.
there's no audio at all. That's
No,
I know.
No. There's a screen that comes up. So there's like a weird animation.
Yeah.
And there's like tiles.
But it doesn't say any, and he doesn't say shit.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
No, it says, fuck, now I'm thinking it says victory.
Yeah, so some people remember it saying, you win.
Yeah.
Some people remember it saying victory. But altogether, no voice.
What?
No voice, fam.
But does he say something though? He says
says
stuff.
shit in
Like
other
strike.
games. Yeah, stuff like that. Double.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, but the you win does not exist. But I can hear it in my head.
Shortly here, we're waiting to see the drogue parachutes deploy from the crew capsule. Those are like the guide parachutes. There go the drogue parachutes.
Just free falling right there until those drogues came out.
And then next will be the main parachutes that get pulled out.
Hear that screaming inside the capsule?
I mean, can you really blame them? They're literally free falling. That's crazy. Mostly in like a small ass tin can.
Here's 10 of the rarest human genetics known to mankind. And if you ain't got any of these, you can't call yourself special, unfortunately. Oh yeah, and the last one on the list is definitely gonna shock you. Number 10, being left-handed. 1 in 13 people are left-handed. Put your hand up if you're left-handed. Number 9 on the list, having a butt chin. It's called the cleft chin. Only 1 in 21 people have a butt chin. Number 8, this is nothing to be proud of, but a psychopath. 1 in every 113 people are psychopath. I think that number might be a little higher. Number 7 on the list, having different color eyes. Only 1 out of 2,500 people have a different color of eyes. There's gonna be at least a few people with different color eyes watching this video. Number 6 on the list, 6 fingers. Only 1 out of 13,400 people have 6 fingers. I used to know a guy who had 6 fingers. Number 5 on the list, a back bending knee. Only 1 in 105,000 people have this. Number 4 on the list, can't feel pain. Only 1 in 1 million people have this power. This could really work in your favor, and it could also not work in your favor too. Number 3 on the list, mirror movement. Only 1 in 3 million people have mirror movement. Number 2 on the list, gold blood. Only 1 in 170 million people have this. And number 1 on the list, uncombable hair. 1 out of 900 million people have this. This gotta be cap.
Oh, can someone, please, just one of you, just blink already. The White House has just announced that China will now be facing a 245% tariff as a result of their retaliations against the US. And what are those, you may ask? Well, China's ordered all their airlines to stop future Boeing deliveries and banned the purchase of US aircraft parts, which, keep in mind, is one of America's biggest exports. On top of that, Hong Kong has suspended postal services to the US, meaning they are now refusing to handle any packages coming from or going to the United States. And then, for the biggest blow, China has now paused the exports of 7 critical rare earth minerals. That is significant because these rare earth minerals are essential for making so many things, like smartphones, cars, and even weapons like drones and missiles. And why that's such a big deal is because China holds a near monopoly over the production process of these minerals, a staggering 92% of global output. So you can look at that in 2 ways. 1, that's crazy. Why would Trump pick a fight with China when they have that on the US? And 2, the US should not rely that much on another country, especially for something so critical, so it needs to change. Both of those ways of looking at it are simultaneously true. However, that doesn't mean that America doesn't have anything on China. A massive 1/5 of their entire economy is made up of exports, and China has around 20 million workers involved in US-bound exports alone. So if US buyers dry up because of tariffs, the hit to China's economy will be significant. But I mean, at this point, it hardly matters which side suffers more as a result of this trade war. Because ultimately, when the rich lose investments, the poor lose their homes. So, please.
That's crazy. That's like the video that we looked at the other day when it was talking about how Black Ops 2 predicted this. And that's crazy. Hopefully we don't end up going to war because of these minerals and all these tariffs and trade agreements and things. But we'll see what happens. This is going to be a very interesting year. Dude, what is going on with Wendy Williams lately? Apparently they have her like isolated from everyone. I think she's just going through something like really tragic.
All right, so why is the internet calling Hailey Bieber a psychotic stalker? First of all, what you gotta understand is these allegations are absolutely not new. People have been saying for years, yo, y'all gotta watch out for Hailey. The internet said, they said, we got evidence. She wildin'. The internet said. But here's where Hailey Bieber had a problem. A man named Internet Oddities combined all of the evidence and put it into one TikTok video. People said, oh, the internet started to finally take notice. And here's how the story goes. Hailey Bieber married to Justin Bieber. Cool. But before Hailey Bieber was Justin Bieber, her name was Hailey Baldwin. Does that last name sound familiar? Yes, she's part of the Baldwin family, a family of actors. Her dad's name is Stephen Baldwin. Her uncle's name is Alec Baldwin. So Hailey Baldwin, big fan of Justin Bieber, as most teen girls and most people in the world were. When Justin Bieber had that little swoop, it was up. Boy was a megastar, untouchable unless you had connections. Hailey Baldwin goes, Daddy, I want to meet the boy with the swoop. He says, I got you. So Stephen Baldwin introduces his daughter Haley to the boy with the swoop. And the crazy part about all this compiled stuff is all this stuff is on video. So he's saying, yo, Justin, my daughter is a huge fan. Justin goes, appreciate you. Haley goes, she's nervous. She don't really say nothing. But damn, them fans started to notice her in a few other pictures. But okay. What if it's a coincidence? She a big fan and all that. Besides, Justin Bieber at this time dating Selena Gomez. Ain't nobody gonna get between that. Except for Justin and Selena, because they break up. Justin said Selena was the love of his life, all that. Haley said, love of his life? That's because he hasn't met me yet. Hey, look, it's Kendall Jenner. Now lock into the story, because we about to go on a roller coaster. Kendall Jenner, friends with Hailey Bieber. But see, Kendall Jenner's also friends with Justin Bieber. So Haley said, yeah, introduce me. Kendall said, I got you. Kendall introduces Haley and Justin. They start hanging out. Hey, look, it's Devin Booker. An interviewer goes to Justin. They say, okay, I see you and Haley. Justin said, hey. Oh, no. I'm just chilling right now. You know, I'm not dating nobody. The interviewer said, damn. Haley said, damn what? You heard what my man said? We just chilling. The interviewer said, nah, girl, you just chilling. Turn around. Haley turns around. God damn. Justin back on his bulls. He back together with Selena Gomez. Haley said, ah. Everybody said, okay, Selena, Justin, we see y'all. Justin said, yeah, like I said, love of my life. Ain't nothing funny. They break up again. But then Haley slides through like Jordan in Game 6. In fact, Haley comes through with so much game, she gets married to Justin Bieber like 6 months after Justin breaks up with Selena. Now, everything I told you is basically documented by the media and all that. This is just celebrity stuff that people know. But here's where things start to get wicked. Fans then started to notice something. Inexplicably, Hailey Bieber starts taking photos similar to Selena Gomez, posting them. In fact, Internet Oddities just compiled a list of every time she did it. And what you're about to see is quite remarkable. Bing, bop, boom, bang, zoom, zow. And since I ran out of words, we're gonna stop. Well, after this one, because this dress is pretty nice. And so all this had people going, that's quite peculiar. Selena Gomez then does a cooking show. Hailey Bieber does a cooking show. And the shows are remarkably similar, down to the script, down to the frame. Now, there's a lot more evidence that I'm not going to mention because I'm pretty sure you get the point. So the internet goes, Hailey, you're insane. Haley goes, she don't say nothing. And since Hailey Bieber, Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez hasn't said anything about this story officially, this whole story boils down to just a theory. Granted, people do have a lot of evidence for this theory, but I don't know. This video was meant to explain to you why people are mad at Hailey Bieber right now. Not to make you think this or that, or say this person's right, this person's wrong. That being said, well, we're ending the video here. No need to dive into their relationship or whatever, because, again, that's not this video. See ya.
Dude, I literally have a video of Justin Bieber telling Hailey Bieber that he could just replace her at any second of the day. It's hilarious. I might honestly throw it in there right now.
If you weren't so hot, I would have got rid of you a long time ago.
Y'all see what I'm saying? Like, that's actually hilarious. Tell she definitely has like a Selena obsession because she knows that this man Justin Bieber is obsessed with Selena Gomez. And later in the video, we're gonna actually see more context on that.
MrBeast once again tried to make himself a part of another meme, but this time it went terribly wrong. So as many of you know already, it's now a trend to dress up as Minecraft characters and go see the Minecraft movie. A similar trend to what people were doing during the Minions movie. Well, MrBeast decided to join in on this trend and take it a step further by going with not only him, but 75 other people dressed up as Steve. He went with all these people, bought all their movie tickets, bought all their costumes, bought all the food they ate. You could tell that MrBeast thought this video was going to go viral and that he thought it was a great video he made. But instead, as soon as MrBeast uploaded this video, he received the most hate I have ever seen. The reason people are so mad is because MrBeast just seems to do this with every new meme. And because of this, the video is very underperforming, especially for a MrBeast video. The video actually did so bad at one point that he took it down completely and re-uploaded it. It's been over 8 hours now, and the video only has 2.4 million views, which would be a lot for any other creator, but for MrBeast, that is nothing. MrBeast spent so much money on this video just for it to not do well and flop. If you check MrBeast's TikTok account right now, I can guarantee he either took down this video completely or the video has a very low amount of views.
Heard the crazy conspiracy theory that celebrities get mentally frozen at the age that they got famous.
These examples will explain a lot. Taylor Swift has confirmed that she is a victim of this conspiracy theory.
You know, there's this thing people say about celebrities that they're frozen at the age they got famous, and that's kind of what happened to me.
Her pathological people-pleasing is definitely a quality of an agreeable, shy teenage girl. The arrested development of celebrities may offer an explanation as to why Leonardo DiCaprio only goes for women under 25. As he got worldwide famous in 1996 when he was 22. His type back then was ingenue, stereotypical supermodels who were his age, and they grew out of that, but he never did. Don't turn 25, baby, you're too sexy. An extreme example could be Michael Jackson, who got famous when he started performing at the age 5. And without getting into the dark side to respect everyone involved, he did admit he bought the Neverland Ranch to be a sanctuary for kids to have a perfect childhood experience that he never got to have because of fame. And maybe he saw himself in those kids. I think there's more to the eternally 12 birthday cake Mariah Carey always has. Selena Gomez got worldwide famous when she was a preteen. Maybe that could explain why she's addicted to middle school drama. Before I tell you the craziest example, for a deeper dive in this theory with these examples and more examples, go check out the video version on YouTube and the audio version for my podcast. The craziest example of this that got me really thinking about this week is when Miranda Cosgrove said she has never drinking before because she's never had a reason to. What a strange thing to say. And she doesn't smoke and will only swear a little bit, but she thinks it's like endearing, like when it's funny when a little kid swears and everyone laughs. Then I got to thinking, oh my god, she's frozen at 5 years old, Drake and Josh. She's frozen at Megan.
Girl, don't let no man have you believing he is over you, because Justin Bieber just confirmed that even though him and Selena have been over for over 7 years, he is not over her. Justin Bieber went from not ever posting at all to continuously posting the past several days, and he just posted girls on social media when they get engaged. Very clearly talking about Selena. Now, when I say he can't be over her, it's been 7 years, so like all of us just like saying like maybe this is all about her, it's definitely about her. Which just goes to show that Justin Bieber is just as human as the rest of us, and sometimes we gotta do a little bit more than crying whenever a relationship ends, even if that relationship is one that you caused to break up. What does Haley, his wife, have to say about this, as her husband is now openly spiraling over the fact that his ex-girlfriend is now engaged to Benny Blanco? She hasn't said much, but she did unfollow him on Instagram right as all of this posting tirade started. You have to remember that Wendy Williams was not only right that once Selena moved on, that Justin Bieber would have like a major breakdown issue over her moving on, that he's also lost a friend and producer through Benny Blanco, because since him and Selena started dating, Benny has cut ties with Justin so that he could focus on Selena. However, since posting this video about Selena's engagement, Benny Blanco has come back with a post of his own.
Well, you know, we're always happy to see you, Donkey.
But Fiona and I are married now.
We need a little time, you know, to be together. Just with each other.
So while Justin Bieber's team would like us to think that he's making peace with Selena Gomez moving on with Benny Blanco, since he's now happily married with Haley and they have a kid now, all of these posts related to this engagement and this couple in general, along with his live tweaking whatever is happening while he's making an album, say otherwise.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've seen Justin Bieber's post online, and he's definitely on I would say a manic episode or something. People believe that he's actually on drugs. He said something there like, this is proof that celebrities are just humans like us. Like, obviously, like, I don't know why when people get like this high status, all of a sudden they're just looked at as like a god. Like, they're just better than everyone. They don't have emotions. They don't feel like. Got a lot more videos, so make sure y'all are staying tuned, bro, because these get crazy.
They called me a conspiracy theorist, and then, well, Britney Spears. You know? They called me a conspiracy theorist, and then Justin Bieber. You know what I mean? They called me a conspiracy theorist, and then Joe Francis and Matthew Perry. They called me a conspiracy theorist, but Chester Bennington. They called me a conspiracy theorist, but then Dan Snyder. They called me a conspiracy theorist, and then Amanda Bynes. Time and time again, they have called me a conspiracy theorist. But what about the Olsen twins? They all called me a conspiracy theorist. And then Aaron Carter, you know? See, the problem is, when some of us bring up some of these celebrities and how they look different, and their life is gone, and their faces are altering, all of you run into my comments on defense mode. But the problem is that maybe we shouldn't keep our mouths shut anymore. And if these kinds of things can happen to grown-ass men,
that trade their bodies to go and get the role. They get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So
then it can happen to anyone. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make is saying that it only happens to certain individuals and not all of them. And a lot of times when I'm talking about celebrities and I'm talking about how they're changing physically, it has a lot to do with what they are engaging with spiritually. And you'll begin to see with some of these celebrities how their light is gone and how a lot of them are just shells of what they once were. And we all have eyes to see and ears to hear, so I suggest you guys start using it.
I'm a big believer of this thing called as within, so without. Basically, how you're feeling on the inside and how you're spiritually feeling affects what you deal with in the external. And a lot of these celebrities, you could definitely see that. Like, they seen something, been through something, or did something that kind of internally gives them conflict, and that's why they have this, like, some celebrities have like this dead stare, if you know what I'm trying to say. If you guys have any examples of celebrities that have that stare, put it down in the comments.
You know.
Has the Illuminati approached you about sacrificing anyone to make it happen?
all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, according to the internet, I've been in the Illuminati. What's the thing where they said people eating babies? What was that?
That was Gate, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was in that too.
You was in Gate?
That's what they said.
Wow, they wild.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was eating babies.
You up there.
Wow.
They think you like...
So what is that?
Wow.
So Illuminati is not the same thing.
No, I don't think it's the same. It might be the same elite circles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they eating babies for sure.
That's what they say, yeah.
They eating babies.
So the restaurant is going to be a baby-based restaurant. So you're going to eat babies. What is it? What is it?
Don't play like you don't know, Kevin. We've seen other interviews.
I call it the room with the door behind it. You never get to that door. We always got through the first door, and we were so excited about being in that room that we never looked at the next door.
Touch the break.
I'm gonna stop right here.
Look.
We're back. This is
Like, come on, this look on Jay-Z's face says it all. Guessing here, he finally went through that door.
I don't know if you've had this, but I've had people throw millions of dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And what? Just, you've been up, yeah. Oh, they're in the room.
And Tommy Mottola is a devil. I'm not supposed to say what I'm gonna say right now, but I have to let you in on a secret.
Say it.
So, please don't videotape what I'm going to say, okay? Because the companies take advantage of them. They really do. And Sony, being being the artist that I am at Sony, I've generated several $1 billion for Sony, several billion, and they really thought that my mind is always on music and dancing, and it usually is, but they never thought that this performer, myself, would outthink them.
Yeah.
So we can't let them get away with what they're trying to do, because now I'm a free agent. I just owe Sony one more album. It's just a box set, really. It's with 2 new songs, which I've written ages ago. Because every album that I record, I write, like, literally, I'm telling you the truth, I write at least 120 songs every album I do. So I can do the box set and just give them any 2 songs. So I'm leaving Sony a free agent, owning half of Sony. So I own half of Sony's, and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it. But I just did good business, you know.
Tell him! Say it, Michael! Tell the story!
But so the way they get revenge is to try and destroy my album. But I've always said, you know, good art never dies. Thank you. I love Unbreakable. You know, turn that off, please. No what? I don't mind. Tape it.
Marco is getting gangster today!
Mariah Carey. after divorcing Tony, came to me crying. Crying. She was crying so badly I had to hold her. And she said to me that this is an evil man. And Michael, this man follows me, she said. He taps her phones. And he's very, very evil, and she doesn't trust him. And he is a horrible human being. And we have to continue our drive until he's terminated.
Oh! There you go!
We can't allow him to do this to great artistry. We just can't. I just want you to know I appreciate everything you've done. You've been amazing. You're so loyal, Diana. Everybody, Waldo, all the people here, I love you all. You've been amazing.
Thank you!
I love you.
That's definitely the sole reason why they tried to come after Michael Jackson. Like, I feel like all the things with the kids and all that thing, I feel like that was Sony's trying to take him down. That was the Matrix attacking him. That's what I feel like.
So Terrence Howard just explained perfectly how Diddy operates, how Diddy does Diddy things. And this all makes sense in a moment. But first of all, if you don't know Terrence Howard, he's an actor. He did movies like Hustle and Flow, man. He did a show called Empire. He was on Iron Man. You might have seen him on there. But he's also known for saying questionable things in interviews, like how he has simulations of vortexes and how he's about to gravity, you know, stuff like that. But anyway, back to the point. He says one day he's chilling at home, and he gets a call from Diddy. And I can tell you right now, that's when Terrence Howard had a problem. See, Diddy called him and told him, look, Terrence, like the TikToker said, you an actor, right? Terrence said, yeah, that's me. Diddy said, hey, can you come through to the crib? You know, give me a few acting lessons. Terrence Howard says, of course. Terrence said as soon as he pulls up to Diddy's crib, Diddy just posted, staring at him. Terrence said, okay, well, the first lesson to being an actor, Diddy said. Terrence said, Diddy said. So Terrence thinking, oh no, man, we gotta change the scenery. So he says, hey, Diddy, you was also talking about music, right? You wanna show me some music? Diddy said. Terrence said, all right. They go downstairs. Diddy got a studio in his crib. You know, Diddy rich. Diddy showing him some songs. But Diddy posted still, staring at him while he playing the song. But Terrence, all he thought was, okay, this is a little weird. I'm a little uncomfortable, but Terrence doesn't really know what to think, right? So Terrence goes back to the crib. Terrence's assistant pulls up and says, yo, by the way, Diddy wants to hang out with you again. Terrence said, what did he say the reason was? The assistant says, well, I think he wanted to watch Netflix with you. If you don't know what that means, look in the comments. Terrence says, oh, I'm never hanging out with Diddy again, I guess. Now, let me explain a bit further, because the assistant didn't just come out and say, oh, Diddy wants to watch Netflix with you. It's what you can get from somebody's tone. You know what I'm saying? It might be in a look. It might be in a touch. It might be how they work their voice. But this is what I mean by Terrence kind of explained how Diddy operates. He's just so bold. I'm telling you right now, from all I've researched, from the stories, from the interviews, his boldness is what shocks me the most. Straight up staring at people. Straight up licking his lips. Straight up saying wild things like, oh, you look good in that type. Like, he told 50 Cent, yo, 50. Let me take you shopping. 50 said, I'm 50 Cent. Why would you need to take me shopping? Diddy said, I just want to take you shopping. I want to buy you things. Damn, that's bold. But hold on now. It's never enough just to go out to the media and say, hey, Diddy gave me this look. You know, Diddy said he's going to take me shopping. People like, people going to rationalize. You know what I'm saying? It's something that people can't believe. But now that it's out, now that people know Diddy be wildin', hindsight, people can look back and say, oh yeah, he was weird. So I feel like this is how Diddy got away with these alleged things for so many years. He'll do something insane, do something bold, but he'll bank on the fact that people are probably gonna say, oh, you're just imagining it, or you're just exaggerating.
Dude, I wonder if someone has ever like if this probably happened before, if someone has ever accidentally just not have done the bolts right and then the tire falls off while they're driving at like Mach speed.
Very, very bad news for TikTok. You might want to start downloading all your videos like now. So if y'all haven't heard, the tariffs are off the table right now for most countries, except for China. They're essentially getting the Pro Max version of the tariffs right now. And China, as you know, still owns TikTok, and they're not happy with these tariffs at all. So as of right now, TikTok is no longer for sale. Now, I do want to say that could change in the future, but there's not a whole lot of time for that to change. TikTok has like 70 days before it'll just naturally be banned again due to the extension stuff they're doing. But the only reason they've extended the ban so much is because there have been deals for American companies to acquire TikTok in the works. Now that China's changing their stance and saying we're no longer selling, there's no longer an American company that can buy TikTok because they're not selling. Now, whether or not we actually get to keep TikTok will be completely up to whatever happens with these tariffs. I mean, China and America could definitely work something out with the tariffs. That's basically what's happening with every other country. It's like a work in progress. But again, due to how everything is like being constrained by time when it comes to the ban, a deal might be worked out too late and TikTok might already be gone by the time that it's worked out.
The amount of times they just threaten the ban of TikTok is so crazy. I don't think anyone ever is gonna. It's gonna be like the boy cried wolf. They're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna ban TikTok like next week, and everyone's gonna be like, probably not. And then TikTok probably will actually get banned. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty sure TikTok was supposed to either get banned this week or next week, but now it got delayed another 75 days. So
some absolutely tragic scenes are coming out of the Dominican Republic this morning. Over 113 people have died after the roof of an iconic nightclub in the country's capital collapsed during a concert attended by musicians, politicians, and athletes. There were 800 people inside the venue when this happened, and they had all come to see the performance of legendary singer Ruby Perez. Now, initially reports said that Perez had been rescued, but unfortunately we now know that to not be true. He was found alive under the rubble, but he later died due to his injuries. Some of the victims also include Governor Nelsie Cruz, who is also the sister of 7-time Major League Basketball All-Star Nelson Cruz, former MLB pitcher Octavio Dotel, and World Series winning Dominican baseball player Tony Cabrera, who actually reports say heroically saved his friend by pushing him out of harm's way before being fatally struck himself. Now, we still don't actually know why the roof collapsed, especially at a time where so many people were inside the venue. But of course, as we know more, I'll keep you guys updated.
Oh, good morning. No, not good morning. You already know. Why are you here? You already know. You just want money. Money, 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 money. Money, get out of here, bro. Money. All you want, don't care about you. All you want is money. Go, get out of here. All you guys want is money. Money, 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 money. Money, money, money. Get out of here, bro. Okay. Get out of here, money. That's all you care about, money? That's all you care about, guys. It's money. You don't care about people. Only money. Only money. No people. You don't care about human beings. Go. Go. Go.
Nah, he really going through it. I saw some people in the comments that were like, oh, he's a millionaire talking about, oh, money, money, money. So ironic. But at the same time, I feel different about that. Yeah, he is a millionaire talking about, all you want is money, money, money. But at the same time, he didn't get his millions to just harassing people all day. Just like, hey guys, hey guys.
We need to investigate everybody who worked on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Because somebody who was in that room is a time traveler. And I am sure of that. If I were to tell you 13 years ago a game developer would predict the future, you'd probably call me crazy, right? But stay with me. You see, Black Ops 2 was released in November of 2012. And in every single Call of Duty game, there's a campaign. And in the campaign of Black Ops 2, China and the United States are in a Cold War. But why exactly did China and the United States get into a Cold War? As it says right here, it's because China stopped exporting rare earth elements. Which is something that sounds ridiculously insane, like that would never happen. Only yesterday, that's what China did. You may be thinking, oh my gosh, this is a reach. It's a video game who said sometime in the future this would all happen. But it gets even crazier when you realize when Black Ops 2 was set. Because in this video game, it's not set in 2012. In fact, it is set in the year 2025. As in the year 2025 that we are in. Meaning that 13 years ago, the game development team that was building Black Ops 2 accurately predicted all of this down to the exact year that this is happening.
Yeah, I used to play Black Ops 2 back in the day, and I was just thinking like, damn, 2025 is far, and it's the future, and now we're literally in 2025. That's crazy. That means when they're developing a game, probably back in like, I feel like 2 years before they released it, so maybe like 2011. That means they really predicted what was going on in today, modern age. That's crazy. I gotta say, Black Ops 2 is my top 2 favorite game of all time.
If you fire a bullet at the crocodile that's charging at you, most people think they would kill it instantly, but that's not exactly what would happen. A crocodile's skull is reinforced with thick, bony plates called osteoderms, making it as tough as real-life tank armor. So a low-caliber round fired straight into its head would most likely just bounce off.
All right, an American YouTuber under arrest in India after visiting a remote island that is off limits to visitors. Mikhailo Palakov from Arizona was arrested back in March. Police say the 24-year-old recorded himself leaving a can of Diet Coke on North Sentinel Island in an attempt to make contact with the tribe that lives there. The Sentinelese tribe, which is known for killing outsiders, has been isolated from the rest of the world for thousands of years. Polyakov is set to appear in court next week. He faces up to 5 years in prison.
Ever noticed that the celebrity world is full of doppelgangers? And Hollywood just keeps getting weirder by the day? Well, what if I told you that some of the biggest celebrities never actually left us? They just jumped ship, changed names, and lived a completely different narrative. And most of them are still walking amongst us today. Obviously, this is just for entertainment, guys. Nothing I say is scientifically proven, but it's food for thought. After all, I'm as fictional as a dinosaur, you know what I mean? So Lady Gaga famously died. But what if she actually just recycled and pushed new narratives as Lady Gaga? You see, when Amy Winehouse died, Lady Gaga got miraculously pretty famous very quick. About 2 years after it, Lady Gaga was an absolute star. Their faces are absolutely symmetrical, and they even have a perfect alignment of birthmarks on their back right-hand shoulder. To me, it's undeniable that something crazy was going on with this situation. Lady Gaga even recently slipped up on stage and said that she had to let go of her old self to become her new self. Strange. What about these two very symmetrical, beautiful souls? Yes, Morgan Freeman and Jimi Hendrix have a massive similarity. Not only that, Jimi Hendrix died and Morgan Freeman starred in his first ever movie a year later. And boom-de-boom-de-boom, once again they have very perfect alignment with freckles and birthmarks. The chances of all of these happening to the perfect similarity is 1 in 10 billion. Impossible. Our worldwide very loved Robin Williams is also still alive. He's living under a guy called Uncle Pappy, who's got tens of millions of followers online, just doing inspirational videos, stood in a lake, living the dream.
Dude, what would be the point of someone trying to end their suffering and get out of the limelight just for them to get back into the limelight under a different? It'd be a waste of everyone's time. Am I bugging?
Let me finish this video up with a lovely video of our Uncle Pappy himself doing an impression of Robin Williams. You will see how uncanny this guy is, because it's actually him.
It seems I can't make a video without people comparing me to Robin Williams, and that man brings a damn tear of joy to my eye. I love him so much, man. So I'm gonna do a little Robin impression for y'all, okay? This is Robin Williams talking to me about swimming with the alligators. Let me see now. Pappy, you swim with the alligators. If you get attacked, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's a grand adventure. I don't know. Go easy on me. I'm just tired, man. I packed it to love.
Makes you think, doesn't it? If this is going on and they can just recycle celebrities, what else aren't they telling us?
This is a true story. A couple was stranded at sea when a huge shark appeared. The boy drew a dagger and turned to the girl. "Only one of us can survive," he said. Then, without hesitation, he pushed her into the water and paddled away as fast as he could, leaving her behind. Shocked and heartbroken, the girl trembled as tears streamed down her face. She closed her eyes, accepting her fate, bracing for the inevitable. But the shark didn't come for her. Instead, it darted past her and went straight for the boy. He was dragged beneath the waves. By some miracle, the girl was rescued by a passing boat. Years later, she returned to the sea and saw an old man weeping by the waves. Curious, she approached and asked why he was crying. The old man told her he lost a son to a shark attack a few years ago. The girl almost threw up of disgust.
Dude, that's wild. That's literally karma at its finest.
You have to understand that when you go into the Appalachian Mountains, you are entering into another realm. And there is a set of unspoken rules that you must follow. Rule number 1, if you hear something calling your name, right, you didn't. There is nothing there. And you should not respond. Do not say hello. Do not say, who is it? Just run away. Because something is trying to gain permission. And by you acknowledging it, you are allowing it to come after you. If you hear screams in the mountains, right? You didn't. And do not go towards the direction of the screams to try and help. Because once again, something is trying to lure you. If you see people, you don't. If you hear crying, you're not hearing it. Do not respond to this at all because you are giving permission to whatever is in those woods to come after you. Now, if you are to go camping in the Appalachian Mountains, right, you have to remember, at night, you must keep a fire going at all times. And it's not for warmth, it's not for cooking, it's to keep you safe. And if you are going to camp in a tent, make sure when you go into that tent, it is sealed up. There are no holes, there are no cracks. And if you hear any kind of screaming, yelling, or anyone calling your name, do not respond. Do not go to sleep. And if something wakes you up, stay alert, and once again, do not respond. Now, it's very important when you are walking through the Appalachian Mountains, if you come across a deer carcass, do not touch it, do not stare at it, walk away, ignore it, because this is something, once again, trying to lure you into the woods. Now, if it comes to the point that something is chasing you and it gets you and there is no escape, fight as hard as you can, whether it's a person, an animal. If it's something else though, and you know what I'm talking about, well, you just let it get you, right? Because at that point, there's nothing you can do. And there's an old saying, you go into the Appalachian Mountains with 2 bullets, right? You fire the first one at something that isn't a person, that isn't an animal. And if it doesn't run away, you know what to do.
Hello. Can you say mama?
Yeah.
Hello. It's your dad. You feel me? Can you say dada? Can you say dada?
You know what I'm saying? Get, no.
You know what you need to do?
You know?
Say dada.
Say dada.
Say dada.
Say dada. Say dada.
Well, you better say dada.
Say dada. He ain't playing.
Let me see that smile. Probably scared you, sir.
Does it? Oh my God! Hey, stop smiling when it comes to her, man. Dang! What? One more time.
Hi. Hello.
You look concerned. I'ma just. Bro, what is it that she got that I don't got?
Children's show television star Miss Rachel is in some hot water for 2 things. One is that she commented on Dylan Mulvaney's TikTok saying when you're in New York City, you should come film an episode with us. which got really mixed reviews. Miss Rachel already does have a trans actor who's in a lot of episodes, so I think people's problem is more that it's Dylan specifically, not the fact that it's a trans person. From a marketing perspective, even just asking Dylan gets a lot of eyes on the show, but ultimately, because they are so controversial, if I was on her PR team, I might ask another trans person to be on that doesn't have quite so much baggage. Next, like 2 weeks ago, she sang a song. In said song, she mentioned all of the children, including the hostages in Gaza. When she was faced with backlash about it, she basically said, I love all children. I love the children in Israel. I love the children in Gaza. No innocent children deserve to be hurt. And she also used her platform to raise funds for the children in Gaza. And she made a video clarifying it, again saying all children deserve to be loved no matter where they're at. Handled beautifully.
All right, guys, so I just saw another content creator on here just say that if you block the Facebook page on TikTok, your For You page kind of goes back normal. I said, screw it, what do I have to lose? Let me try it. I just went on it, I blocked it, and guess what? My For You page kind of like took a turn out of nowhere. I don't know if it's just pure coincidence or if there's any truth behind this. Try it, why not? Because I'm seeing my old kind of videos popping back up, like people listing stuff for sale. Luigi Mangione just came back up, so it's kind of weird. I don't know if there's coincidence, but just try it.
If mythical creatures actually existed, which one would be the worst? Do you know how much shit we would be in if dragons were real? We're talking about behemoth lizards that breathe fire. I'm talking about any city can be turned into ashes. And if you don't get burned, you probably gonna get stepped on. I'm talking like we all getting Human Torch powers, without the speed, without the flight, without blasting shit out your hands. Not me though, because I'm built different. Dragons are sitting on top of the food chain, so humans are getting eaten. Other large animals getting eaten. Nobody's gonna combat them. Our main military advantage today is air. But with dragons around, that shit is over with. And if you still decide to take a flight to go get your BBL or your hair transplant, that shit is... Did I mention that they were big as fuck? They're definitely gonna overhunt with their greedy asses. That just means there's no resources left for y'all humans. And they'll give you another bill. You'll need fireproofing for your home. Humans would honestly be extinct. We deadass cannot live with this bullshit. Dragons would be cool to see because it's something that we never seen before. But after that little bit of time, that shit dead. I'm gonna be alright though, because I'm coming like her.
Oh no, look at all the blood. Yes.
Who do you think is the most extraordinary scientific mind that that humanity has produced?
There is no contest. Isaac Newton. Nothing. Nobody comes close. He, working alone, discovers the laws of motion. Then he discovers the law of gravity, universal law of gravitation. Oh, and then someone asked, why do your planets orbit in this shape, ellipses, or ovals, rather than perfect circle? It's, I don't know, I'll get back to you. And he goes home, and he comes back, I finally have my answer. And they said, well, Isaac, how did you do that? Well, I had to invent integral and differential calculus to answer that question. He then discovers the laws of optics, deducing that white light is composed of colors. Because you could take those same colors, recombine them, and get white light. He does all of this. Then he turns 26.
If y'all didn't know, now you know. This is where y'all get y'all crawfish from. Oh, uh-oh. You see this, feel this water right here? This bed? These little crawfish holes. There's a crawfish down in there somewhere. all the way down, and that's where crawfish be. They don't come from the ocean. They come from out here. Right there, these piles. Crawfish come straight out of there. Ain't that right, Rim Dog? They don't know. They don't know. Just eating wet bugs. Get out of there!
I hate to break it to you, but space doesn't actually look like this, or even this. While space photography has advanced dramatically over the last 80 years, what we see in these images isn't exactly reality. The first photo taken from space was snapped in 1946, just 65 miles above Earth, barely reaching the edge of space. Today we get breathtaking, colorful images of the cosmos regularly. But here's the thing, those colors aren't what you'd see with your own eyes. Telescopes like the James Webb capture light beyond human vision, infrared, ultraviolet, and even X-ray. To make sense of this data, NASA assigns colors through a process called false coloring. This isn't just for aesthetics. It reveals hidden details and structures in space that would otherwise be invisible. So, while the universe might not look exactly how we imagine, these images offer us a deeper, more beautiful glimpse into the unseen wonders of space.
There's a huge commotion at Kim Kardashian's Skims pop-up at Mel's Diner on Sunset Boulevard this week, and Kim thought the pop-up would be all about her, but there was another star that got a way bigger crowd and way more paparazzi for them. This young male star who was like concealing his identity was eating at the pop-up, clearly saw that he was getting noticed, had a whole swarm of fans for him, so he went outside and then got mobbed. People were having this young man sign their arm, sign anything. Like, this is true, like, Justin Bieber fan behavior. And when I tell you this is the craziest thing, this is not a lie, I promise you from the bottom of my heart. I saw this whole thing happen from across the street. This is a video from my phone. I saw this because I was doing my ab workout. And I see him getting, like, chased down the street as if it's 2010's Justin Bieber. But at first I couldn't really tell who it is. And since it's the Skims pop-up, I was like, is that one of the Kardashian adjacent men right now? Like, is it Timothy Chalamet? Is it Travis Barker? I had no idea at first. But lo and behold, I found out who it was. It's actually the same guy who was getting paparazzi'd with Justin Bieber last year, Ryan Halsa. He's a huge, young social media star, so obviously all the girls are gonna love him and get excited about him, and now he's tiptoeing into pop music. He has a new song out called Crash Out. It's very experimental, it's very interesting. A lot of people seem to be super excited about it and supporting him, and people are theorizing that he'll be like the new fresh face of male pop stars, because everyone wants the male pop stars.
Why doesn't anyone want to live in upstate New York? You may have heard that New York State is densely populated, but what's interesting is that the majority of its population lives in only one place, New York City. The rest of the state, especially the northern part, with its forests, lakes, and majestic mountains, is surprisingly empty. The story begins with history. New York City was once the destination for waves of immigrants, a gateway for trade with the world. The job opportunities, modern lifestyle, and potential for a new life attracted millions of people. Meanwhile, the north, where snow falls heavily and winters last for months, doesn't offer the same allure. With fewer job opportunities and slower urban development, many young people decided to leave. However, upstate New York is by no means lacking. It's a place with fertile land, stunning natural scenery, and a slow, peaceful pace of life. Perhaps in the future, as people start to seek balance and escape the hustle and bustle of the city, upstate New York will gradually revive, becoming a new promised land for those who value nature and a simpler life. Are you here?
As someone who currently lives in upstate New York, I can tell you it's boring as hell here. But if you're like older and you're looking for like a retirement, chill area, you know what I'm saying, nice scenery, nice trees, nice like lakes and stuff, I feel like a lot of older people would like NY, but like upstate New York. But for the younger folks, if you're not in New York City, then it's kind of just like boring.
This was a story that shocked the world, even drawing the attention of Elon Musk. A coach took 12 students on a cave exploration trip, but an unexpected torrential downpour caused a flash flood within an hour, blocking the only exit and trapping them inside. Faced with extreme hunger, they made a pact. If someone did not survive, the others would use their body as food to stay alive. The incident took place on 23rd June 2018 in the Tam Luang Cave, Thailand. That day, the youth football basketball team Wild Boars decided to explore the cave to celebrate the arrival of new members and one of the players' birthdays. The 12 boys, aged between 11 and 16, were accompanied by their 25-year-old coach, Ekapol Chantawang. The cave stretches approximately 10.3 kilometers, and every year during the July monsoon season, it becomes completely flooded, with water levels rising up to 5 meters. In the past, sudden floods had already led to disappearances, which is why access to the cave was strictly forbidden during the season. Upon entering, the boys left their bicycles and backpacks at the entrance, unaware that these objects would later become the key clue to their disappearance. Just an hour later, as they attempted to return, the seasonal rains, which typically arrived in July, came early, rapidly flooding the cave and blocking their exit. With no other option, the coach led the group deeper into the cave, searching for higher ground to escape the rising water and await rescue. As the floodwaters advanced quickly, they managed to reach an area called Pattaya Beach, where they were temporarily safe. However, the water level continued to rise, forcing them to move even further into the cave. Fear began to spread among the boys as time passed. Outside, parents noticed their children had not returned and, worried, alerted the authorities. The police found the boys' bicycles and backpacks at the cave entrance, confirming that they had gone inside. However, the lack of proper equipment and specialized personnel made it difficult to begin a rescue operation. On 24th June, the Thai Navy SEALs took over the mission. However, visibility underwater was extremely poor, and the divers lacked experience in cave rescues, making the operation even more challenging. As the heavy rains continued to hinder efforts, Thailand requested international assistance. The news spread rapidly, capturing global attention. Cave diving experts and volunteers from multiple countries rushed to the site with specialized equipment. In no time, nearly 1,000 people were involved in the operation. A large water pumping system was installed to reduce the flooding, but the relentless rain made the effort almost useless. On 29th of June, 3 rescue workers sustained minor injuries due to an electrical leak in the pumping system. Underwater drones with thermal imaging technology were then deployed to detect signs of life, but initially, nothing was found. Experienced divers searched the cave by feeling along the walls in the darkness and laying down guide ropes to ensure a safe path in and out. At every possible air pocket, they would surface and call out, hoping to hear a response. After days of exhausting searches, rescuers finally reached Pattaya Beach, but the area was completely submerged. They only found a few pairs of the boys' trainers, and despair spread among the rescue team. Many believed that after so many days, survival was no longer possible. However, 2 British divers, John Valanthan and Rick Stanton, refused to give up. On 2nd July, after 9 days of searching, they ventured even deeper into the cave and, around 4 km from the entrance, found all 12 boys and their coach alive. The scene was unbelievable. After 9 days without food and in total darkness, they were still alive. They were weak, thin, and exhausted, but remarkably, they still had the strength to respond. With no food, they had survived by drinking the water that dripped from the cave walls. In their desperation, they had even considered that if one of them died, the others would use their body as food to stay alive.
Really? A bus crash?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Dang, I don't remember it. Guess that's probably good.
That usually happens. It's just split second.
Well, cool. I guess thanks for letting me know.
Oh, wait.
What?
Before you go on to the next phase of heaven, you get to ask one question about anything you want.
What do you mean?
You know, the nature of the universe, any question about your life in general, a friend's life.
This is like a big decision. What kind of questions do people ask?
Oh, you know, like how many steps you took through your whole life. I mean, I don't know, how many times you swore.
Oh.
Stuff like that. Or like, what's the meaning of life?
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let her rip.
Yeah.
Any question.
This might be dumb, but can I ask like about a song?
What do you mean?
Like I've had a song stuck in my head for a while and I have not been able to figure out what it is. Like.
Yeah, I guess so. Couldn't you just like ask, okay.
Has anyone done that before?
No, actually.
Okay.
No, I was just thinking like you could have asked like, I don't know, ChatGPT or Google when you were alive, but.
I tried.
Really?
I spent like a full night one time just like looking through playlists, just trying to figure out what song it was, and I could not figure it out.
Wow.
So.
Well, I can pretty much do anything, so whatever. If that's your question, go for it.
All right.
Sing what you know.
Okay. I've never really sang in front of anyone.
Don't worry, new judgment. We're already past the judgment phase.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's kind of like bum bum ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. And then it kind of like restarts. Sorry if that was bad.
Bum 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 bum. No, should know this.
Yeah.
Bum 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 dun 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 dun. Or no, right?
Yeah, and it goes down.
Oh, bum 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 bum.
Oh, not like that. I don't know. It's kind of like folky too. It's kind of like I feel like there's like an accordion or something, or like
accordion.
Maybe piano. I don't know.
Okay.
It sounds kind of like folk music, but I think it's from like a Cartoon Network show. I think.
Oh boy.
Like I thought it was like the Foster's theme, but that's completely different. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
No, that one's like. Dun, 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 dun. I don't even know that. I'm not good at this. Yeah, damn. Bum 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 bum. Fuck. No, I don't know.
You don't know it?
Honestly, I can't figure it out. We can ask somebody or.
That's my question?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh man.
You kind of once you ask it, it's kind of closes it out. We could apply, go up the board, but there's a lot of bureaucracy and shit. It's gonna take weeks, months.
I mean, I guess I have eternity though, right?
Oh yeah, weeks here. It's like millions of years and stuff. So that's yeah. Sorry, that's part of the next phase. I'll explain that part. Sucks, but I tried. My bad. All right.
Okay. Cool. Thanks. Right. Thanks for trying though.
Yeah. No worries. Welcome to heaven.
Oh,
congrats.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll probably ask around when I'm in there.
Go for it. Yeah. You're good. I'll ask around too. Sorry, couldn't figure it out.
And if you guys know the song, please let me know because it's actually been stuck in my head for like months and I don't know what it's from.
This is insane. Scientists have just shocked the world after releasing a video where you can hear the first direwolf howl in 10,000 years. The Times just wrote an article about it and described it as the return of the direwolf. Now, if you didn't already know, direwolves once roamed the Americas from Canada all the way down to Venezuela. But about 10,000 years ago, they vanished, going extinct along with other giant Ice Age animals like the mammoth. But their bones stayed behind. And fast forward to 2025, scientists at Colossal Biosciences recently discovered ancient DNA inside fossils that dated all the way back from 11,000 to 72,000 years old. Then, using that DNA that they discovered, they managed to decode the direwolf's entire genetic blueprint. And here is where things get wild. They took ordinary DNA from a gray wolf and then edited it gene by gene to perfectly match the ancient direwolf's genetic code. Then, using domestic dogs as surrogate mothers, Romulus and Remus were born in October. Colossal claim that they are the first de-extinct animals ever. And at just 6 months old, they are already 4 feet long, weigh 80 pounds. And what's crazier is that instead of being really friendly and cuddly, the Times report that they're kind of cold, cautious, and avoid humans entirely. They even avoid the people who raised them and bottle fed them from birth. Colossal posted about this achievement on X saying, "This moment marks not just a milestone for us as a company, but also a leap forward for science, conservation, and humanity." They said they're aiming to revolutionize endangered species by mastering genetic technology. And if successful, not only could we hold on to our current species from going extinct, but maybe even bring back the ones lost to the past. However, not everyone is celebrating. Some say calling this de-extinction is disingenuous, arguing that they are only grey wolves with 20 edited genes to mimic direwolf traits. And others warn that this kind of genetic meddling could lead to catastrophic consequences. But what do you think? Is this an amazing scientific breakthrough that should continue to be pursued? Or are we messing with things far beyond our control, risking consequences that we can't possibly predict?
Nah, because I was thinking, like, what type of Jurassic World like, bro, what? Like, why do we need to bring back extinct animals? Like, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? They're extinct. God just didn't want them here with us, you know what I'm saying? So why do we need to intervene? Like, no, we're bringing them back. You could already tell, like, they were saying that, like, they're trying to feed it, you know what I'm saying, make it more humane. And it was like, yo, screw these dudes. They might have grew us, but, like, I don't like them. So I think we should just honestly leave the world as it is and stop trying to bring back these things before they take us out. You know what I'm saying? They come in and we go out. That's how I feel. But anyways, if you guys like this video, remember to like the video, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been here for an hour and 15 minutes. That's like, the video is gonna be shorter because I'm gonna edit it, of course. But like, if y'all could see what I'm seeing right now, I'm gonna show y'all. It says I've been here for an hour and 15 minutes just recording this video. So if you see the video, like the video. Let's try to get to 2,000 likes this video, because why not? If you haven't already subscribed, let's try to get to 50K subs. We're literally right on the edge. We're like here. Like, let's just get over that edge, and the next goal is 100K, so I can get that silver plaque. That beautiful silver plaque that every YouTuber has that hits over 100K. So if you guys like the video, remember to like the video. Let's try to get to 2K likes. Love y'all, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this one, because I kind of enjoyed this one. I'm not gonna lie. Peace out.
Thank you all for watching this here video.